of the bottle. I think I'm a special one.
We understand Jose Mourinho's taking over at Benfica. They've sacked Bruno Lage after losing home to Karabag. And Mourinho's first Champions League game with Benfica would be at Chelsea, live on talkSPORT 2 a week on Tuesday. Benfica was Mourinho's first job in management 25 years ago. Meanwhile, Thomas Franks hailed a tough 1-0 win over Villarreal, but talkSPORT's Troy Deeney says Spurs need more.
They'll struggle to get out of the Champions League group phases playing like this. They have to raise the level. Maybe there's a nervous energy. Maybe there's a just get the job done for the first night.
It was Spurs' fourth clean sheet in 5 games, but they only had one shot on target. Mikel Arteta claims his bench players could be more important than the starters this season. Martinelli and Trossard both scored after coming on, but Arteta's calling them finishers rather than subs. Elsewhere, Keith Andrews' strong start continues at Brentford.
I'm really enjoying it, more so since the window's closed, I must be honest. I can actually focus on the football and the grass and the training and the game and the opposition and all those things that are actually enjoyable.
Brentford beat Aston Villa on penalties in the Carabao Cup. Palace also needed penalties to get past Millwall, and Grimsby manager Dave Artell fancies a trip to Spurs or Everton, but isn't bothered who they get in the last 16. Grimsby won 1-0 at Sheffield Wednesday. More on all this at talksport.com.
talkSPORT News.
4 people have been arrested following a public stunt at Windsor Castle where Donald Trump's being hosted by the King, and prosecutors in the US claim the man accused of murdering Charlie Kirk told his roommate to delete incriminating texts about the killing. More from the news team at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit, your go-to destination for quality tyres from great brands like Continental. Visit your local centre or quickfit.com and book today.
Heavy spells of rain in the west. That rain's moving northeast, lingering over northwest Scotland. In the south, staying cloudy with outbreaks of rain, and a breezy day for us all.
This is the talkSPORT Goal Show. It's the show for the fans. It's done by the fans. Yes! Oh! Oh my God! Yes! Yes! Yes!
He is an unlocker of defences.
If you've got a problem or something to say, you don't have the right to say anything about something. I do.
This nonsense kills the game.
Good morning, everybody. You're listening to Jim White, Simon Jordan and Danny Murphy, and we're live on talkSPORT. So after an opening night win in the Champions League, has Arsenal's summer spend left them with a fully locked and loaded squad now built for success? Meantime, is Arne Slot right? Does the Liverpool model deserve more praise? Also today, we cross to Portugal as Jose returns. Sheffield United manager Chris Wilder will join the show. Do members of the modern-day bomb squad deserve any sympathy? What next in the Grand Slam track saga? And after conquering the world in the summer, can Chelsea now conquer Europe? It's Jim White, Simon Jordan and Danny Murphy, and we are live on talkSPORT.
100% engagement. Jim White and Simon Jordan on talkSPORT.
So, Danny, I thought I'd engage with you because Simon will be completely indifferent to this. I got myself checked out the other day and my blood pressure is fine. Everything is fine, really, apart from cholesterol. Way higher than it should be. Don't feign interest, Simon. I tried to speak to you about this the other day and you ignored me. So, Danny, I got down to the canteen a short time ago and I got what I thought was good for me, a sausage and an egg. Came back up. And I'm talking to Danny. I came back up and I was laughed out of the office that this in any way was helpful to my cholesterol. But you, Danny, were the only one who was saying, well, maybe try this, Jim, or try that. And I just want to thank you, Danny.
Moderation.
Again. Yeah.
The odd bit of sausage is fine, Jim.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, an egg. What's up with an egg?
I eat lots of eggs.
Yeah.
2, 3, 4 a day.
And you were telling me your old nan, you know, she had a cooked breakfast.
I think some people can emphasise, you know, I mean, my nan, God bless her, she was, late 90s when she passed. I think she only ever went to hospital once.
Yeah.
And she had a
cooked breakfast every morning.
Yeah,
it's what you cook it in, you clown, isn't it?
You see, this is exactly why
Isn't
I didn't
it?
want you in this conversation.
I don't really care.
Now that I know you've got a problem with chocolate, I'm going to bring chocolate bars in every single day and eat them in the studio.
I love chocolate. In Germany for 5 weeks, I was eating chocolate all the time. This is part of the problem.
you're getting wider.
Anyway, a bit more sympathetic when I was talking about high cholesterol, and thank you for that. And thanks for the time you gave me. As for you, look at him. He can't wait to get the boot in.
I'm going to.
Simon, you and I were talking about Chris Wilder yesterday.
Indeed, we were.
Chris very kindly gave me a little one-to-one. Producer Luke and I recorded a chat just before we came on air this morning. You'll hear that later on, sometime like mid-morning. Very, very good. Very good on the ownership. I mean, Chris, why go back? This was the same ownership that said goodbye to you 90 days ago, and now you're back. Some really good answers to some fairly tough, I think, questions. And
well, who asked him?
I'd like to. He's on one this morning, isn't he? I'd like to think Chris is successful at Sheffield United, but he's got it all to do because, as we were pointing out, no team in the EFL's history has ever lost their first 5 and ended up promoted. So he's got a job in his hand.
He'll be the first, then, won't he?
Yeah,
that'll be the attitude I suspect he exhibits. I'll be the first to take that challenge up.
Yeah, exactly. That is the way you should look at it.
And I would imagine he'll think that the ownership made a mistake, and everyone's entitled to make a mistake, aren't they?
Yeah. He's in the mood for it as well. He's up for the challenges. Chris was a ball boy, was a player, and now for the 3rd time becomes their manager.
Well, that's handy, isn't it? I would hate to think that they employed him as ambivalent. Oh, maybe, I don't know. See how I feel about it.
He's on one this morning, Danny, isn't he?
It's good.
I think this augurs well for the show, doesn't it?
Curly.
I don't know about you, Dan. Last night, so much football on, I did not know where to look. I ended up, for some obscure reason, watching Real Madrid against Marseille.
The glitz, you were drawn to the glitz of Madrid.
I think I was. I don't know why, but I was. But before that, I did take in Arsenal in the early kickoff. And Arsenal overcame Athletic Bilbao thanks to 2 goal-scoring subs, Martinelli and Trossard. Martinelli came off the bench for Eze, scored with only 36 seconds on the clock. Danny, their £250 million summer spend, has it left them with a fully locked and loaded squad truly built for success this time?
It's looking that way. I mean, they've got competition for places everywhere, all over the pitch. Got 4 good centre-halves now, full-backs competing. Their forward line, they've got an abundance of talent, good variation, well organised, always brilliant defensively. I mean, there's no excuses now.
Yeah,
they are covered. Every base is covered.
Have they got better depth than Liverpool?
Yeah, I think defensively for sure. I mean, attack-wise, Liverpool have got a lot of options as well, so you wouldn't kind of be worried for Liverpool in that respect. But the 4 centre-halves they've got are all very, very capable. Arsenal and Liverpool don't quite have that.
Right.
But yeah, they're going to be up there, Jim. They're a very good side.
Yeah.
And Arsenal don't have to play particularly well to win, a bit like Liverpool recently, to be honest. But if you think of Odegaard and Saka, Havertz all being out last night.
Ben White.
A year ago.
Saliba.
A year ago, if they were going into that game with those players out, I think most people going, they might struggle. And now, it's not really being talked about.
Great point. It's a great point. And now we're in the territory, Simon, of talking about finishers. I think it was Eddie Jones, wasn't it? When he was
Just out of
in
curiosity,
charge of
why
England.
are we phrasing the question? Are they based upon a result against Atletico Bilbao, who've been beaten at home in the last 2 games by Alaves and Osasuna?
No, I'd have said the same last week.
So, I mean, but the genesis of the question that we're doing is because they've beaten Atletico Bilbao, which everybody said before the game they were going to, and quite frankly they should do, and a team that's, as I say, just lost at home in the last 2 games against Alaves and Osasuna without scoring a goal.
No, but hang on, they've got huge depth that they didn't have before.
Sure.
Declan Rice coming off the bench at the weekend.
Yeah, no, what Simon's saying is why is the question coming after a win against an average side? I think the question...
They lost to Liverpool.
Yeah, but in a very...
But they still lost.
Game.
Yeah, but Simon, Danny's made a good point. There is real depth. It's staring us in the face. No Saka, Havertz, Saliba, Ben White, Odegaard last night. And he didn't rely in the starting 11 to get them through the tie. It was the finishers who got them through the tie.
Fantastic. But put that lack of depth, that depth they've now got, which is replaceable with the players that they've put in play, might not have beaten a better side. So they've beaten an average side.
They might not, but they've got more chance because they've got more strength. but it doesn't mean they're going to get over the line.
No, true, Danny.
But
But it was a lack of depth, Simon, that cost them last season.
Well,
yeah.
well, was it? Or was it an inability?
Yeah.
Hold on. Was it an inability to buy a player in January because they made ridiculous offers for players at the last minute to be able to get over the challenges that they had of losing Havertz and Gabriel Jesus and not having a striker?
But that's
available?
fair, but that's still a lack of depth.
Sure. But what I'm saying is that the argument that we're making now is that the depth that they've got, based upon current performances, and when they've come up against an elite side, when they had their depth, they still got beat. This is not an elite side. So the question is, can they overcome Liverpool? If the argument is, can they win the Champions League? Well, who knows? Because we're seeing at this moment in time Real Madrid in some form of mediocrity, I think. And I don't think Real Madrid are going to dominate the Champions League this year.
But would you not concede with the depth they've now got, though, Simon? They stand a much better chance of going all the way in
Yes.
there.
But I don't need to concede it. I accept it because I've said for the last 2 seasons, Arsenal need to spend 250 million quid a year to stand still.
Right.
Stand still
So you
means...
accept it?
No, to stand still. Not to win leagues. I don't know whether Arsenal... They've got no excuses left now. There's no reasons why people... I know that we're going to talk about Ernesto Valverde's wonderful appraisal of Arteta. If you're spending the kind of dough that you're spending, that he's spending, and producing the kind of players that he's got, and you're doing it season on season on season, and been given the kind of resources that he's been given over the last 3 or 4 seasons, you have every right to be in the conversation about winning leagues and winning competitions.
Well, you're right.
As yet, you haven't.
Well, as you said, Ernesto Valverde, or as you said, Valverde, pre-match in Arteta, he's one of the best coaches in the world, and he's showing what he can do at Arsenal. They don't let you play. They press in every duel. They insist. It's hard to press them. They're a team with a stamp on them, and that stamp is Arteta. And now I think, Simon, we all must concede they have the depth that so many Arsenal fans were craving for. Will it take them all the way in a competition like this? That remains to be seen.
So the question that was asked of Arteta and this stamp was, is he brave enough? And the question was asked, and it was answered by people like Emmanuel Petit, who played for Arsenal, that they felt that there was questions still to be asked about Arteta.
True.
You can squeeze the life out of average sides. Let's see you squeeze the life out of top sides and beat them in games in terms of the Liverpools and the opposition that you've got to overcome to win leagues and Champions Leagues.
Right.
Not Atletico Bilbao. They ain't going to be winning the Champions League. They ain't going to be winning La Liga. So what you're doing is you're beating the sides that you should beat.
But
Right,
Danny, I think we're agreed. The squad was thin last season, wasn't it? It wasn't good enough, as it turns out, to win the Premier League or the Champions League. Is it now?
Well, it's got a better chance. They might still fail to get over the line for some of the reasons Simon just talked about. There are people who think they need to be a bit more gung-ho and a bit braver and more creative at times. That might come and grow as the season goes.
In big games.
In bigger games. Yeah. I mean, if you think of Klopp's Liverpool, they were risk takers. Pep's City would steamroll a team. You know, they just batter teams in their success. They just keep going forward. It was football that the fans wanted to see. The thing with Arsenal is in the bigger games, he does tend to be a little bit more cautious.
Who has the aura? There was a thing about City a couple of years ago where people talked about City, they were beaten before they went on the field. Like Liverpool back in the day, teams going out there psychologically beaten. Who has this aura? Because I don't know if Liverpool do, because Liverpool last year were great at certain times, but they weren't as to me, as compelling as previous Liverpool sides, albeit they won the league, of course. And City had this aura. Do Arsenal have an aura? I don't know if they do.
I think teams go to Arsenal.
It's a fair question, actually.
I think teams go to Arsenal now and think, not much chance here. They're home.
Really?
Well,
top
same at
sides.
Anfield.
Top sides.
Oh, no, top side. The top sides, you lose that because you've got the best players.
They're the ones that are going to have to compete against the league. They're not going to compete against Leeds, are they?
No, exactly. So we'll wait and see. The question is about depth. They've got it.
Yes.
Is their quality better than PSG's? Is their quality better than Liverpool's? I think they're going to get. I think they'll go close in both.
I'm going to put it out there, Dan. It's a great point you made. So Arsenal fans listening this morning, yes, you've got the depth, but do you have the quality
in the big games?
In the big games to get the results that you crave them to get? Do they have the quality to go all the way and win this Champions League? You've got the depth. We're agreed on that. They didn't have that depth last season, but do they have it now? And you've got the finishers. And by finishers, I mean individuals don't start, come on and make the difference, like Martinelli and Trossard last night.
At that point,
finishers. We're going to hear from Arteta on that, Danny.
Okay.
But I'll put that out now. Do you have the quality to go all the way now that you've got the depth? 03717 223344 81089 10:15.
is the talkSPORT Goal Show. It's the show for the fans that's done by the fans.
Yes! Goal! Oh my God! Yes! Yes! Yes!
He is an unlocker of defences.
If you've got a problem or something to say, you don't have a right to say anything about something. I do.
This nonsense kills the game.
Bit of movement in the managerial world. Seems that Jose Mourinho is going to be in at Benfica. Last night, Bruno Lage was sacked after they lost to Karabag, Benfica that is. And now Jose set to return there. And of course, this is what happens in football. What's next in the Champions League? Benfica-Chelsea after Chelsea play Bayern Munich. We're talking about Arsenal at the moment. Danny's in, of course, Wednesday morning alongside Simon. We're talking about Arsenal. They might have do they have the quality now to go all the way now that they've got the depth? This is what basically we're talking about. In the past, they couldn't have coped when they were without Saka, Havertz, Saliba, Ben White, Odegaard, as they were last night. Now they do, it seems. And Simon's right. Athletic Bilbao, no world beaters, but they still went there and won. So does that augur well? Many messages coming in, 81089. There's Dave. Arsenal, Jim, no different than last season. Gyökeres is just a flat track bully. They needed a striker to make a difference versus Liverpool. But I'm not sure it's the right one. Well, we shall see in the fullness of time. But already people are suggesting, the depth is there, but is the quality there? 03717 223344. We'll talk about these finishers that they seem to have with the likes of Martinelli and Trossard in a moment. But I want to go to the phone lines because so many Arsenal fans want to come to air, and that is always good as far as I'm concerned. Arsenal fan Alan, good morning to you, Alan. What do you want to say, mate?
Morning, guys.
Morning.
Good morning.
For me, yes, we have the depth and we have the quality. The unfortunate thing is, Gyökeres, for instance, we're making him look bad because we don't play to his strengths. Martinelli looked bad last season, but he's the perfect kind of player for Gyökeres because he attacks and gets it straight across. Last season, he had to keep coming back, which affected his game. We need to learn to play more forward, faster, stop bringing it back, pass back. Because then Gyökeres, if you watch him as a striker, he makes the run, but then the ball isn't coming, so then he has to come back, and then he's not in a position where he needs to be as a striker, so he looks like he doesn't know what he's doing. But if we play the ball a lot faster to him, if we start playing like with a striker that we haven't had for so long, he will look better, we will be more attacking, we will look better. But until we learn to play that way, it will be the same story as last season, unfortunately.
Okay, so a note of caution from you, Alan. I mean, has Alan got a point? What do you make of it, Danny? It's too early to tell.
Yeah, I mean, I think Arsenal will play a bit differently in different games depending on the opposition. But more importantly, when you have a striker who plays the position and it's his normal job, the players around him will adapt and start to build relationships with him and understand what he needs. It doesn't just very rarely you get that cohesion really quickly in forward areas. The other thing with Arsenal at the minute, because they've now got so many variations, you're playing with different players a lot in his first few weeks, Gyökeres. And he still managed to get a few goals. So I'd say just be a little bit patient.
Yeah.
I think he's a real handful. He'll score bags of goals for them.
I think so too. Ben is a big Arsenal fan. Ben, good morning. Is this the case now that you've got the depth, all you need is the quality, and then you might go over the line? What do you think, Ben?
Absolutely. Listen, last season we didn't lose to any of the top six. You know, our problem was not getting over the line with the teams that we should be beating. We've gone out now. We've got the squad. We didn't have Saka. We didn't have Jesus. We didn't have the last the teams.
Okay. Ben just walked into the wind. Maybe
he made one good point about
the dog there.
They did do well against the big teams. Well, a lot of draws, but they didn't.
They've managed to eclipse that this season because they've lost them.
Yeah,
away.
but it's now you think back to last season. A lot of the problems I had early in the season when they kept getting the sendings off. Do you remember, and drawing and losing games against teams that
Trossard got sent off and Declan Rice got sent off, didn't they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was a moment, incidentally, Simon, against Liverpool. It was a moment.
It doesn't matter.
Szoboszlai scored a phenomenal free kick.
But that's what wins the leagues.
It was a moment.
Yeah, but that's the margins.
Yeah, they need a moment.
When you're at the highest end of the highest end, as Danny will know, there are small margins. And if you can get out of a game like Liverpool and not lose it, then that's what builds you opportunities to win leagues. If you lose, Caller was making a point. We never lost the top six. Whoop-de-doo-dah. Now you have.
He's on one.
Whoop-de-doo-dah.
Whoop-de-doo-dah, Kevin. Big Arsenal fan. Whoop-de-doo-dah. What do you think? You got the quality to go all the way now.
Morning, lads. Great show. Thanks a lot. Over here in Dublin. But yeah, look, I've been an Arsenal fan for nearly 50 years, and you know, I think I'm excited, really genuinely excited this year with the qualities of the players that have been brought in. I'm excited. I think the squad is as strong as the way the Invincibles were at one stage on paper. And paper doesn't win you things, as Simon will be quick to tell me. But I really think Gyökeres is the striker that we've been missing. Havertz will never be a striker, you know, despite what everybody else thinks. I think that we've got competition for places. I think we're starting to see a mentality around not losing or not throwing their hands up if Saka is missing or Odegaard is missing or even Saliba is missing. Like, you know, who would have seen that last season? And Danny was right. There's huge competition for places, which is great. Martinelli comes on and scores a good goal. Trossard comes on and scores a goal. That's what you want. That's what great teams have.
Yep.
We're still chasing down Liverpool. In fairness, Liverpool haven't clicked and they've won all their games. Liverpool haven't clicked and they scored in the 85th, 86th, 93rd, 95th minute. So that's the benchmark. That's the benchmark that we've got to get to. But I really think Arsenal have it within themselves for the first time in a number of years, certainly since Arteta's reign, to mount a serious challenge.
Good call, Kevin. Stick your neck out for me, Kev. The 17th of September, on this day, did you predict it? Will they win the Champions League or the Premier League? Will they win either?
Look, I'll put it this way. If they won the Champions League, I'd die happy. If they win the Premier League, I'll be equally thrilled. But to be honest, we've never won the Champions League. And for a club that has the money and the resources and the size of Arsenal to never have won the Champions League is I think it's a bit of underachieving at that level. And I think they were, but for Donnarumma, I know people might argue the contrary, but for me, but for Donnarumma last year against PSG, we'd have made the final. Because I think Donnarumma was just...
Oh, just lost Kevin. Kevin, many good points in there. We're going to finish off with Keno, as a big Arsenal fan, has been waiting patiently. Keno, what's your take on it all with Arsenal?
Yeah, my thought on it, I know everybody's speaking about the squad depth, the squad that we have. Just remember, we haven't lost any of our first team players in the summer. So spending over 250 million, we should have that team. And I can't, for the life of me, I can't understand why people believe that Mikel Arteta is a manager who's going to take us over the line. Last night again, he got very defensive. It's just because we're playing a weak team why we come away with that 2 points, with that 3 points. Martinelli and Trossard come on and score. But if you realize, it's only Gyökeres make 2 shots, I believe, on target for the whole game. Club Athletic did not make a shot on target. They didn't have an out-and-out number 9.
Yeah.
So we go defensive. We go Marino. We have players on the bench that can play a number 10. We need creativity in the team. And this is what Mikel Arteta is taking back from the team. Creativity. We've done it at Liverpool, we get done. Now we go away again last night. We nearly get done. Not because we win, everybody's going to say, it's not every win is a good
Okay,
win.
Keno. Okay, so Keno's leaning towards he's still too cautious.
Well, I think there was a view that last night playing Moreno in the 10 rather than Eza, you could have had Martinelli as a 10. I see that. That would have been even at Anfield. You know, that there was things he could have done, but I suppose you're always going to get that when you've got so much talent on the bench. You're always going to get somebody who thinks the team he's picked isn't the one they think or isn't as creative. I do get it. There are games I watch Arsenal and you think, go on. You know, let it go.
Yeah.
But the problem is with that is then they lose that brilliant defensive shape and that stability he likes, because they've had the best defensive record for the last 2 seasons. I think I'm right with that. So it's a difficult one. It's a difficult one. I think
they've conceded 1 goal, Danny, and it was that free kick. Szoboszlai.
Yeah, and I think that says it all, doesn't it? But in terms of the big games, you've got to take a risk, and we'll see. We'll see. They'll feel they're in the right place.
Yeah.
And Arteta thinks he's got enough to go and win it. And if he doesn't, as we said at the beginning of this chat, if he doesn't win it this year, questions will be asked.
Sure. Well, Valverde did say, they're a team with a stamp on them, and that stamp is Arteta. We'll see if Arteta and Arsenal can show that they've got the quality to go all the way in the Champions League. It's 10:30. It's Wednesday morning.
We understand Jose Mourinho will take over at Benfica. Bruno Lage was sacked after they lost at home to Qarabag. And get this, Mourinho's first Champions League game back at Benfica would be at Chelsea, live on talkSPORT a week on Tuesday. Former Chelsea captain Andy Townsend told us things always change when Mourinho walks through the door.
He wants to get straight back in. Look, he creates a load of excitement. He creates anticipation. Yes, he frustrates a bit at times, particularly as he's got older. But you cannot doubt that he's a proven winner, knows how to do it, and is adamant about doing things his way.
Thomas Franks hailed a tough 1-0 win over Villarreal in the Champions League, but talkSPORT's Troy Deeney says Spurs need more.
They'll struggle to get out of the Champions League group phases playing like this. They have to raise the level. Maybe there's a nervous energy. Maybe there's a just get the job done for the first night.
It was Spurs' 4th clean sheet in 5 games, but they needed an absolute howler from keeper Luis Jr. to gift them the goal. And was Xavi Simons lucky not to get a second yellow for that challenge on Nicolas Pepe?
I think just because it looked dangerous, it can't be a yellow all the time.
Elsewhere, Keith Andrews' strong start continues at Brentford. They beat Aston Villa on penalties in the Carabao Cup. Palace also needed penalties to beat Millwall.
Wednesday morning, Wednesday, September 17th. Jim White, Simon Jordan, Danny Murphy. So many of you tell me in the street that you watch the show as well as listen to it, and that is fine by me. And you can do it in a variety of ways. We're live on Samsung, LG, Fire TV, Apple TV, Chromecast, Android, Google TV, even Prime Video. Wherever you watch, Danny, we are there. You're there.
What's Chromecast?
Oh, please. Honestly,
Chromecast.
Is that a serious question?
Is it
I'm
Chromecast?
actually, I genuinely.
So it's not Chromecast, it's Chromecast.
Chromecast.
Genuinely amazed by how many people come and compliment the show. Honestly.
Who do they compliment, Danny? Me or Simon or you? Or
the show in general.
Good man. Yes. No, we're thrilled at that.
Yeah.
Thrilled at that. And we're delighted at how many people are watching it on these various things, including Chromecast. Thank you for keeping me right there. Wherever you watch, we are there. We watched last night as the finishers did the job for Arsenal. The finishers. As I said earlier, I remember Eddie Jones, when he was in charge of England rugby, talking about finishers. They come on and they can do what it says in the tin. They can finish the game. And that's what happened last night in the shape of Martinelli and Trossard. And Arteta elaborated on that.
That they are at least equally important or more important, and we have discussed that the finishers are going to be more important this season sometimes than the starters, and we can change the game then, especially when with the intensity that we play, when teams start to drop off, and I'm very pleased to see that. And Piero comes in, he plays 6 minutes, the best 6 minutes he's played. Christian is the same, and that's the attitude that we need from all of us.
Finishers, Danny. I mean, it's a rugby union type mentality. Is it catching on here?
Well, I can only relate it to my own experience. The year we had our success with Houllier and we stayed in all the competitions, we had loads of games. There was obviously some games where some players are annoyed they're not playing, and players always feel like you've been dropped. He actually did a graph on a flip chart, not a graph, but like a presentation of the amount of points and the wins, etc., that the substitutes had made. And it wasn't always the same subs because he mixed the team up a lot.
Yeah.
And it was a way of keeping everybody on board. And I think what Arteta, and it was a fair point, although it didn't mean that when you got dropped for a big game or rested that you felt any better about it. But the evidence made our argument less. And I think what Arteta's doing by saying that, he's trying to keep the group together and make sure that players are valued, even if they're coming off the bench. And when they come off the bench and score, it validates what he's doing.
Right, so you can frame being on the bench as a positive.
Yeah, because we're in this together. And which is fine if Martinelli and Trossard start at the weekend and then get, at Liverpool, we had a situation where the big games come and we still had basically the same team, so the lads would be disappointed. He's got that at Arsenal. Arsenal will have a consistent 11 in the big games, more or less, if everyone's fit, I would imagine. So the players will still be deflated. But that type of narrative he's talking about goes out to keep everybody sweet, really.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I get it.
There's an old expression, ball oblique baffles brains. But the fact of the matter is, he could turn around to Trossard and Martinez and say, I can call you finishers or I can call you losers, right? Because Eze and Madueke are going to be my starting players in the positions that you want to do.
And Saka.
So really and truly, it's nothing more than repackaging what's been said for ages, which is there's certain players that make the starting 11 and certain players that don't. So he's peddling out a narrative. So if you're 3-0...
It's a squad game, though.
Starters, how you start a game is really important. And how you finish a game is really important. But if you're 3-0 down, it doesn't matter what finishes you bring on.
No.
The game's out of sight. So I always think it's best to land on the opposition rather than have to react to what the opposition are doing. Of course, it's great to be able to have the ability to do so.
I think the 5 subs has changed things a little bit as well. Impact games for all teams.
Yeah.
Of course
also, as well, Jim, now, the reason I think players are more okay with being a squad player because they're so well compensated, and it's just become that way. That there will still be players who'll be fuming. If you look at Mo Salah, if he comes off in the 90th minute in a game, he's still fuming. That's just his mentality. So some players have still got that. But a lot of players now, I don't think that they're all right with it. They're all right.
How would you feel now, though, Danny? Say you were still playing and you're in an Arsenal shirt, and Arteta says to you, Danny, you're starting on the bench this weekend, but don't worry about that because I see you as a vitally important finisher.
Depends where you're at in your career. You know, I had a season or two where I was
finished.
Yes, I had a season or two at Liverpool, just happy to be there, trying to get in, and any minutes you get, it's just...
Yeah.
And then as you become more established, if you were then to be left out, you start questioning and, losing your head a little bit. It depends where you're at in your career or what type of guy you are. There was players at Liverpool back in my day who, they were all right being on the bench.
Yeah.
They would never kick up.
They can't have it always, can they? I mean, players can't have it always. They can't accept that it's a squad game. They can't accept the fact that they're tired and they need rest, and then expect to play in every single game. So the bottom line is that whatever you do, you will not please anyone. And if you want to create a narrative, if you want to spin out the latest expression that you think is going to be able to parlay into something more meaningful, and the media are going to go, oh, that's interesting, fantastic. It's like baseball, is it? People being attacking on a field. Look, the bottom line is that he's got players that aren't going to be starting line players, and he wants to manage them.
Yeah.
And so he creates what he considers to be a narrative, and people write it down and say this is fascinating insight.
It was good enough for Eddie Jones. I know you're belittling
totally different game.
Often do.
Totally different game.
All right. Yeah, well, of course it is.
Totally different game.
But thank you again for your contribution, Sam.
You're welcome.
But Tottenham, meantime, I think it was in the 4th minute, an own goal, and that was it. But it was enough to beat Villarreal 1-0. I wonder, Danny, if Thomas Frank has alighted on something that Ange could never muster, and that's pragmatism. Thomas Frank, we're speaking, though. And bear in mind, actually, when you look at this, so far for them under Frank, 5 games played, 1 goal conceded, and 4 clean sheets. This is Thomas Frank as Tottenham manager.
I thought it was a big win. In any competition, it's good to get 3 points and get a good start. Happy with that. Happy with the clean sheet. Happy with the defensive side of the game. I think we were extremely good and limited Villarreal to very, very little. What I like is that our foundation is strong. Now we are 4 games in Premier League, 1 in the Champions League, and we have 4 clean sheets, which is massive. Obviously, we are building the offensive structure more and more.
So what's he doing, Danny? Is he doing what Ange couldn't do and showing that pragmatism works? Or is it just because he had a couple of key players fit, Van de Ven and Romero? Keep them fit, you'll do all right.
No, he's fixing the main problem what Tottenham had last year, which is why they finished 17th, was because they conceded so many goals and they were wide open. So he's gone in there and gone, we're going to be better defensively first and foremost, and we'll sacrifice the looking great and creativity for a little while, which is exactly what he should do. And the last 2 games, actually, against West Ham and Villarreal, they haven't created very much in open play. I mean, the West Ham game, it was set plays that really hurt West Ham first half. They should have had the goal that was disallowed. Then they scored their opener before the sending off. Tottenham was strong on long throwing, strong on corners, defending well, looking solid. The 3 he's gone with 3 in midfield who are proper midfielders, who are all athletic and able to do the work. I think it'll evolve. I think it'll evolve from an attacking perspective because they've got plenty of options to do that. But right now, he's fixed the problem of what they had. And actually, some boring wins I'm sure Tottenham fans are happy with at the moment. But they will.
You think he's fixed the problem?
Well, he's fixing because they've had
this early.
4 clean sheets in 5 tells you they're well organised.
But again, you have to look at you want to compare and contrast. Look back at how they started the season last year. Look at the start of the season last year. Their first 8 games, they conceded 4 goals. They beat teams 3-0, 1-0, 4-0. And so their first Europa League game was against Qarabag. They beat them 3-0. They beat Man United 3-0. They beat Brentford 3-1. They beat Arsenal 1-0. They lost to Newcastle and they beat Everton 4-0.
Yeah,
so what are we talking about in comparing and contrasting what Thomas Frank's doing? Same situation, except the wheels came off and after the Brighton game.
Yeah, and I don't see the wheels coming off just because we know his Brentford side were always well organised defensively.
Yeah.
And I think when you watch Spurs play at the moment, it's not the way Ange plays. It's not high press, gung ho. So I don't think we're going to see the wheels come off. I don't see that happening.
There's your answer, sir.
We'll see, won't we?
There's your answer.
We'll see.
From a football man.
Good. I'm just saying, if we're going to compare what Thomas Frank is doing to what Ange Postecoglou
did in
the first 4 or 5
my
games,
eyes tell me different. It's not the numbers.
Yeah, but you're using stats, maybe not your eyes, as Danny is doing.
I'm using the...
no, it's a fair point.
Yeah, of course, it's a fair point.
I'm
using stats because stats are the beginning of a conversation, not the end of it. But I'm comparing it to the basis of what we're looking at is what Thomas Frank's first 4 or 5 games look against the problems that he may have fixed. You look at the first 4 or 5 games of Ange Postecoglou when they won the first 9 games or something. I
think a couple of obvious things. You've got.
I watched you do it in your phone, and you weren't wrong to do it.
Tottenham's fullbacks are playing like fullbacks. Under Ange, they played like wing. They just went.
Yeah.
You've also got the shape of the team when they haven't got the ball. They'll have a little press when they can, but then they drop into... it's not the same team you're watching.
Yeah.
So will they lose some games? Yes. Will they have some bad days at the office? Like they didn't play well at home to Bournemouth. You know, Bournemouth were brilliant on the day and Tottenham didn't look great. But overall, you're not going to see that gung-ho team all over the place where they're getting... run races every week.
Yeah, but thank you for your contribution there.
You're welcome.
It's Jim White, Danny Murphy, and Mr. Always Right, and we're live on talkSPORT, courtesy of Selco, where the trade goes.
unlocker of defences.
If you've got a problem or something to say, you don't have the right to say anything about something. I do.
This nonsense kills the game.
So don't miss your last chance to enter our biggest competition ever, £25,000 in cash and tickets to see Oasis live at Wembley on Saturday, September 27. Yeah, 25k and Oasis tickets. You've got until 9 in the morning this Friday morning to enter, and here's how.
18 plus, UK excluding Northern Ireland. For a chance to win, text the word OASIS to 83338 and you're in the draw. Text costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. You must have the bill payer's permission. Or you can enter for free by calling 0330 880 3338. All entries must be received by the 19th of September at 9 a.m. This is a talkSPORT limited promotion run on talkSPORT, Talk and Virgin Radio UK stations. Full terms and conditions at talksport.com.
I am personally delighted, I know Simon is too, that this is a show everybody listens to, everybody watches in a variety of different ways nowadays on TV. Certainly Rangers fans were watching and listening yesterday when we were talking about this Union Bears statement saying, sack the CEO, Patrick Stewart, and sack Russell Martin before the weekend or else there'll be trouble. Quite a lot of Rangers fans picked up on it. There's one, Simon, on social media. Simon Jordan and Jim White spoke of the statement released by the Union Bears on talkSPORT. Yeah, we did. Jordan was dismissive as ever, and Jim White took it upon himself for a dig at the so-called fan media who grilled Russell Martin post-defeat against Hearts. The mainstream media are just there for reactions and clicks.
Not really. Maybe we just have different opinions. I thought that their statement was straight out of clown college. And I wouldn't take it seriously if I was their board. I'd take it seriously if the manager continues to fail the way he is. But I certainly wouldn't take ultimatums about who I should fire and when I should fire them by. Or, seriously.
Yeah. They can think what they want, and we'll think what we want. Aston Villa went to Brentford last night in the Carabao Cup. 1-1 after normal time in Brentford. The Bees were buzzing because they won at 4-2 on penalties. Out go Villa. And Unai Emery said, yeah, we've got to start doing better.
Of course, the result is important, but we score goal, we draw. But in the penalty kick, we lost. Of course, we are disappointed, but we are improving things. It will be important for the next weeks.
Danny, they got their first goal of the season from Harvey Elliott, but they're dumped out at this stage of the Carabao Cup. This Villa drop-off that we're watching, is it no more than an early season slump?
Yeah, I don't envisage it dragging on too long. We know what a wonderful manager is and how much he's got out of those players. They've been missing a few key figures in the team in the opening weeks of the season. People like Onana gives them such presence in the middle of the pitch. Decore's missed a couple of games. And a few of them look a bit off it. Don't know whether that's confidence or physical. You never know, depending when some players came back or where they're up to on match fitness. But it's not the Villa we've become accustomed to watch under Unai Emery. But there's no reason to suggest, with the quality they've got in the squad and the manager there, that it's not going to fall back into place. It happens sometimes.
What makes it happen? What's gone wrong so far?
Well, I think sometimes it doesn't go well in the first game or two, and some of the team changes a little bit. You lose you have a couple of injuries, and confidence drops, and all of a sudden the next game becomes really pressurised, and you find yourself on a 3 or 4 game run where you're not at it. It happens to. Well, we saw it at City last year, for example. We've got a better squad and arguably better players. So I don't worry about it because they've got such a wonderful manager and they've got so many good quality players and some new players who are adapting.
Yeah.
They've spent some money in the market. They've got to get those players integrated into his way because he has got a specific way of playing, and you have sometimes players that take a bit of time to adapt to that. So, no, I wouldn't be too concerned as a Villa fan.
Elsewhere, Millwall went to Crystal Palace last night, and again, penalties, but it was Palace who needed the penalties to overcome Millwall. Millwall fans, their usual selves. Mateta, if you remember, of Palace, needed 25 stitches after that collision with the then Millwall goalkeeper, Liam Roberts, during last season's FA Cup tie. Some chants last night from the travelling support, 25 stitches. It should have been more. So they haven't lost a sense of humour, have they? But Jean-Philippe Mateta, Danny, you probably saw it, Simon, last night, or did you see it? Right towards the end of it, Mateta could and should have won it for Palace. I mean, it was a glaring miss, Danny. Did you see it?
I didn't.
Slap bang in front of goal. Well, Glasner picked up on this afterwards and actually suggested there's a bit of fatigue here. But fatigue? I mean, Oliver, we're in mid-September. Anyway, this was Glasner.
I think JP honestly would need a little bit of break. And when we saw his chance, it was just fatigue at the end. Playing every single game, every single minute. And so I looked during the second half on my bench who could play striker. Nathaniel Klein, Leo Collins, Caden Rodney. I'm always thinking, what's the message? JP helped me today. I just quoted JP because he said on the pitch, Walter helped me, and I said to him, you helped us very often, and this was the message. Yeah. So we win as a team, we play as a team, we lose as a team. Fortunately, we didn't lose.
What's Glasner up there to there, Simon? That's a message to the board, isn't it? I look to the bench. I want to bring in a striker. I've got Nathaniel Klein.
Yeah, I mean,
Ketty's injured.
Yeah,
the window's shut. Why would you be sending a message now? Just get on with it.
I just think he's setting the pattern down for when he departs at the end of the season.
But just get on with it. Like, why send him messages? That's silly. Just maybe he's fatigued because he just ran around for 88 minutes and put a shift in. It happens in games of football. If you haven't got another striker and he's knackered, put one of your wingers as a striker. I mean, play a false nine.
In an ideal world, I suspect he probably wouldn't want us to play him in a Carabao Cup cup tie. And the fact he hasn't got anyone else to play him is his underlying message. And the fact that he's had two transfer windows that have been deeply unsatisfied, two transfer summer windows that probably have been very unsatisfactory for him. Last year he swallowed it and got on with it and felt they'd not been there long enough. And so he delivered a very successful season for Crystal Palace. This season he would have anticipated, having won the FA Cup, got into European competition, that the least he could expect was some support.
Yeah, but
what he got was
verbalise that behind closed doors. While the window's open.
But that's not how they operate in this day and age. I agree. There's an element of that there's no necessity for that. But what he's doing, I think, is laying the foundation for the reasons why he doesn't sign a new contract and the reasons why he exits Crystal Palace at the end of next season. Because I think that's what's going to happen.
I think he has verbalised it behind closed doors, Danny. Maybe that's why Mark Gay stayed.
Yeah, but my feeling is with what's going on there and
what
Simon just articulated is we all know that he hasn't been given what he should have been. And he hasn't had the players through the door that he needed to kick on. We all know that, so we can say it for him. He doesn't need to be doing that.
I agree, but I'm inclined to agree with Simon. It's almost, we came close tonight.
But what's the
for those out there?
But what's the question? If the question is asked of a manager, because we are very good at taking a chunk of a conversation, putting it into a conversation that we want to have, and then creating a narrative of it. So the journalists ask him a question: how in Christ's name did Mateta miss that? So he turns around and goes, "He's tired,
and I've got no options.
And I've got no other options."
But of course he's got options.
Well, he hasn't got anything on the bench.
According to him, Danny, he didn't.
Play a wide man up front.
He can. That's what I was going to say. Adjust the setup.
Yeah, the setup.
But mid-September, should he have to do that?
Yeah, it's part of the job, isn't it?
A needs-must situation.
I don't think he's been backed. I think he needed some reinforcements more than they've had. I agree with Simon on that, and I agree with Glasner on that. He's a terrific coach, by the way.
He is, yeah.
But Simon, depending on his mood, would criticise that next week because he's been an owner and he wouldn't want his manager whinging. You would,
10:57.
He would.
Remember where you were when you heard that.
The only reason he's playing devil's advocate because I've said what he would normally say. He's got a coach there, who could have gone to the owner and or probably has gone. And why he's just causing problems.
Well said, Danny.
In fairness,
next week you'd probably say something different.
No, but if you listen to me all summer, and people will say it's because
sadly I have.
Yes, no, you haven't because you weren't here. I was the mainstay.
Shut your face.
Now, if you look at it and listen to what I've said all summer about Glasner, and people will say it's because I'm having a go at Parish, I have said all summer this guy needs to be backed. His reward for achieving the things that Palace have never achieved under a variety of ownerships, mine, Ron's, Mark Goldberg's, Ray Bloy's, whoever else, right?
They're weakened.
Is that he gets weakened. Yeah. You're going to lose him. Now, I accept the fact that managers should pay should, and I concur with the view and absolutely endorse it. Managers, keep your trap shut again with what you've got. But if you want to keep a guy like Glasner, you can't handle him the way they've handled him.
No.
They've got plenty of money in that football club. Where the Parish has got 2 pennies to rub together, and the only money he's got is out of Palace. But Harris and Blitzer have got plenty of dough. So why isn't there more cash available for Palace to kick on?
Yeah, but
that question has to be asked.
The manager has chosen to stay in the job.
He's got a contract.
And carry on.
He's got a contract. He's going to stay with his contract.
So get on with it.
There's Ted sending in a message. Jim, listen to Simon. He's right. He has been on all summer. It says no more than that. Is Slot right about Liverpool when he talks now about the money spent and how often the mainstream media are now flagging up the amount of money that has been spent? A fair model, says Arna, and do we not need a bit more praise? Will you be the judge of that? We'll get to that. It's 11 o'clock.
talkSPORT Sports Update, powered by the Nissan Van Range. Supporting van owners to get the job done. Search Nissan Vans or head to your local Nissan Van Centre.
With your headlines at 2 minutes past 11, I'm Nick Ellaby. Good morning. We understand Jose Mourinho will take over at Benfica after Bruno Lage's sacking. Mourinho's first Champions League game back at Benfica would be at Stamford Bridge, live on talkSPORT 2 a week on Tuesday. Former Chelsea captain Andy Townsend told us things always change when the special one walks through the door.
He creates a lot of excitement. He creates anticipation. Yes, he frustrates a bit at times, particularly as he's got older. But you cannot doubt that he's a proven winner, knows how to do it, and is adamant about doing things his way.
Another man who's gone back to the start, Chris Wilder, has spoken exclusively to White and Jordan this morning. Jim asked Wilder if he ever thought of telling the Sheffield United hierarchy to do one.
Maybe at another club, but not at this club, Jim. I think, I've got a unique relationship and history with it. I don't think anybody else has got that, really, from ball boy, supporter, player, manager a couple of times. So unique relationship with supporters and everybody connected to the club.
You can hear Chris Wilder's full interview on the show at 11:45. The Blades are at home to Charlton, live on talkSPORT 2 this Saturday afternoon. In the Champions League, Arsenal's bench made the difference in Bilbao. talkSPORT's Danny Murphy says Mikel Arteta's team are now better set up for domestic and European success.
The question is about depth. They've got it.
Yes, they've got it.
Is their quality better than PSG's? Is their quality better than Liverpool's? I think they're going to get. I think they'll go close.
Tonight, Liverpool host Atletico Madrid live on talkSPORT. Bayern versus Chelsea's over on talkSPORT 2. And Thomas Partey has pleaded not guilty to raping 2 women. He's appeared in court in London just 12 hours after playing for Villarreal at Spurs. Partey's trial is set for November next year.
talkSPORT News.
Donald Trump says there are many things about the UK that warm his heart as he begins his unprecedented second state visit, and a group of 10 critically ill and injured children have been evacuated from Gaza to the UK for urgent treatment. More from the news team at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. Come rain or shine, wherever and whenever suits you with our mobile tyre fitting service. Now that will have you driving away happy every time. Conditions apply.
Heavy spells of rain in the west, that's moving northeast and will hang around over northwest Scotland. In the south, staying cloudy with outbreaks of rain. A breezy day for us all.
This is the talkSPORT Goal Show. It's the show for the fans that's done by the fans.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
He is an unlocker of defences.
If you've got a problem or something to say, you don't have the right to say anything about something. I do.
This nonsense killed the game.
Good morning, everybody. 6 minutes past 11 o'clock. It's Jim White and it's Simon Jordan and it's Danny Murphy, and we are all live on talkSPORT. As we emphasised earlier on, and Danny was touching on this, so delighted that everybody is now watching the show as well as listening to it, because we are everywhere. Live on your TV, Samsung, LG, Fire TV, Android, Chromecast, even Prime Video. Wherever you want to watch it, you can watch it, and we are there for you. And we want to thank you, because in big numbers, you are doing just that, and that makes us very proud and very happy. It is Wednesday, September the 17th. A lot to pour over, some big matches both at home and in Europe. And we are doing just that this morning. Some massive games tonight. And of course, another big fight on the horizon. Simon didn't fancy it last time around. Eubank Jr. against Ben. The two of the fighters will again meet tonight, not in the ring, but at a pre-fight news conference. The fight towards the tail end of the year. And you will go this time, won't you? You will this time. After everybody telling you what a fight you missed last time, I'm sure you'll make an appointment to view this time.
No.
Simon, thank you for that. No, you're going to stick to it no matter what, even though you know you're wrong. You know you missed out last time. You missed a barnstormer of a fight, but you won't admit it, and you're going to do the same thing again.
I watched it on a Sunday morning.
Yeah. I know that, but you always
Why
say
are
to
you
me,
so worried if I
it's
go on
worth going to, and if it's worth watching, and if I feel that it's going to be something to remember, I'll be there. Well, you weren't, and it was something to remember.
I watched it on telly.
All right, okay. Danny, we shall see where Liverpool end up this season. Obviously, they made a good start in the Premier League, and now it's down to the Champions League. What are we going to witness there? So far, though, what we witnessed in the new boy, Florian Wirtz, 116 million quid, bought from German football, came from the Bundesliga, and thus far has faced some scrutiny after failing to provide a goal contribution in 4 league matches this season. You said, watch this guy go. Well, we're watching.
Yeah, he's had a slow start. He's been a little bit underwhelming. Moments of brilliance and little things where you can see what he is. But I said this before the season, when you bring in a lot of new players, and especially, I suppose, when you're under the pressure of being bought for over 100 million, you're going to have difficulties maybe. I expected him to hit the ground running, but he hasn't. But he will. He's got too much quality not to shine. He's a wonderful talent. And I think Liverpool generally have been underwhelming. But they've done what great teams do, is they get over the line. We talked earlier about the Szoboszlai goal to win a big match.
Yep.
Just an incredible strike. And they've shown in the latter stages of games that with the changes they can make, they can open up teams still. They did it in Newcastle. They've done it at Burnley with a bit of luck maybe.
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, most teams have not hit the ground running. There's nobody you're looking at thinking, wow, they've hit the straps. You know, Chelsea have been a bit hit hot and cold, Arsenal to a degree. There's City, lost 2 already. So I think it's been a pretty average start for most teams, but Liverpool are sitting top.
But the thing is, Simon, how can we not talk about the money they've spent? We're going to hear from Arne Slot in a second. But even he concedes, in an answer you're about to hear, if we sell Dominic Szoboszlai tomorrow, he'd be worth 100 million as well. I mean, I want to get inside this because they spent 125 million
but no one's talking
on Alexander Isak.
But that's a silly analysis, because then he'd go and play like a £100 million footballer and people would be judging him by that standard. It's not about what you get paid or how much someone pays for you, it's whether you're worth it or not. And the critical analysis is going to be, if you pay £116 million for a footballer, it's plug and play. So he's ready to go. He's not a work in progress. He's not got potential. He's the real deal. I listened to Slot the other day, who I like, listening to him talking about Burnley, and I thought, who do you think you are? Burnley, it's very difficult to play against a side that banks up and doesn't give us any space. Oh, Burnley's job was to make it easy for you. It was to open the game up so they can get spanked, so you go home happy with the fact you've won 5-0. I thought it was a ridiculous observation, entitled outlook.
So what is this observation then? Because he was asked going into this game against Atletico Madrid if he was frustrated with the scrutiny around the amount of money they spent in the summer. This is Slot.
Because there's so much focus on our new signings, because especially the pundits that favor not us but some other clubs in the country that cannot stop talking about 450 million. I repeat 450 million. I repeat 450 million. But they always forget the 300 million that we've sold for. And I think we should see this as a compliment, that everybody is like, wow, they did great business. And I think we did. We brought in great players. And to add to that, we've already lowered the age of the players. So some other teams prefer to bring in 27-year-olds because they're already, bam, ready. But we think we've brought in players from 21, 22 that are ready, but also 21, 22. So, and then if they are 4 or 5 years with you, you can still sell Luis Diaz for 80 million. But if he would have been 28, I think it's harder to sell him for 80 million if he's 32. So that's our model, and I think that model should get a lot of praise.
Yeah, and we hear you, Arne, but here's the thing. They spent 421 million quid, Simon. They received 191 million. You always go on about net spend, net spend. So, Arne, here is the net spend, 230 million. That's worth talking about, isn't it? Because that's a total break from what we're used to at Liverpool.
Sure. Yeah, but again, we've had this conversation, haven't we? That's over 2 transfer windows.
So the media, i.e. us, were quite right to talk about what they've spent.
All of the conversation is relevant. He is accountable for spending £450 million because he got rid of players that he didn't want. Darwin Núñez wasn't doing a job, so he sold him.
Well, I mean, that's not quite true, because, I mean, Diaz
is the exception.
No, he's not. Jota they lost. They would have kept.
I was about to talk about
Trent. They tried to keep by offering him a new deal. So there's 3 huge contributors to last season's Premier League win. Now, the comparison, of course, when you spend money, you should be improving. The reality is that the players, they had to replace before then improving. So they had to spend big and go on, get lots of numbers in, because they had to replace players they were losing, granted with Darwin or Harvey Elliott.
Did you expect this big?
No, I didn't, and we've said that before. I did not. The reality is they've been unique in the fact they've had to... Normally when a team wins the league, they're not getting rid of 3 mainstays out that team. Liverpool were. So they had to replace them and add. And what comes with that is some problems in terms of which players are going to settle. You know, can Frimpong got injured early? Can he settle and takes Trent's place? Then you've got the replacements, Ekitike, Isak's come late. Who else have they brought in? Wirtz, we've just talked about. So
he says the model deserves more praise. Do you agree with that?
I don't think it deserves praise or criticism.
Yeah.
I think they've spent 450 million over 3 transfer windows. Their net spend is less than we are saying, because the tragedy of Diego Jota means that there'll be an insurance payment out against the material worth of Diego Jota, so they've spent even less. So when you look at it, you can't get away from the fact they spent £450 million in one transfer. They won the league by having the wonderful opportunity to inherit a squad that Jurgen Klopp had built over a period of time, and they didn't need to spend any money to achieve it. So now they've spent £450 million in one season. So the media is right and wrong in equal measures. It's right to highlight the fact that you've spent 450 million quid. You've bought better players for 450. Everyone's got an array of players that they sell.
It's also right to highlight the fact that they've lost players and
It's also right to
they've sold
in a different argument, because both can be true at the same time. In a different argument, you've got to look at the net spend. Arsenal's net spend was what, 250 million quid?
Yeah.
Net spend.
Yes.
What was their net spend last year? I would imagine it's not far from that last year. So when you look at the reality of what Arsenal have done and other clubs are doing around them, all Liverpool are really doing is matching them pound for pound.
Well, Arsenal have added to what they already had. They've only lost Partey.
There's nothing exciting, really. Is there anything really exciting about Liverpool in 2 transfer windows spending an average of 75 million gross? Because that's what they've done. No,
No, breaking the UK spending record twice in one window is worth talking about. And that's what they've done.
Yes, but
they did it reverse, and then they did it reside.
But again,
what does the media do? Just let that go unnoticed?
No, but no, of course they don't. But all the media doesn't highlight one point without acknowledging the other. It doesn't want to. It wants to focus on the 450 million. If I'm Slot, I'm saying I spent nothing last year. So my spend over 2 transfer windows. If I spent 225 million pounds last summer and 225 this summer, would you have said anything? No. Well, that's what I did then. I just happened to load it into one window, and in order to achieve that, I then sold 200 or 300 million, including the tragedy, of players. So what's your conversation here?
So is Slot right? Are some people in the media guilty of not bringing nuance to this?
Of course he is, but the media doesn't bring nuance. It never brings nuance, because nuance is not interesting.
Well, we try to.
Well, that's the difference in this show. It tries to bring contrast and compares and contrasts.
The simple fact is, Jim,
despite your best endeavours,
the fact that they've spent what they've spent and the money they've brought, especially the 2 players they've spent over £100 million on, the expectation is high now. And
yeah, exactly.
And the perception.
So it should be.
And it's fine.
They're the champions of the English champions.
Yes, but the judgment will also be more enhanced and more critical if they fail.
Of course.
And that's just football.
If Isak doesn't score in his first 6 games, you can imagine what it's going to be like.
Exactly.
So, and there's one for you. Chelsea, almost under the radar. Their spend, 285 million, but they brought in 288 million.
They've got a
net spend, 3 mil.
Sure, but they've got a butter mountain of players, for Christ's sakes. They've stockpiled it for the last 2 or 3 seasons. Of course, they're going to be able to shift players out left, right, and centre.
But also, we talk about, and Chelsea have sold a lot of good players and made good money, and businesses, they've done it well. But I don't think their squad's capable of competing with Arsenal and Liverpool still. So
you don't?
Well, it's not. So it's irrelevant.
We are talking about the Club World Champions, Danny.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, and we'll get to that this morning. Chelsea in action tonight. We're going to hear from Harry Kane as well. Stay with us, a lot to get through. We're moving along. It's 11:15 this Wednesday morning.
unlocker of defences.
If you've got a problem or something to say, you don't have the right to say anything about something. I do.
This nonsense kills the game.
Good morning, everybody. Jim White, Simon Jordan, Danny Murphy, live on talkSPORT. As one door closes, another door opens. That seems to be the way in football, doesn't it? Benfica manager Bruno Lage, remember him at Wolves? He was sacked last night following defeat in the Champions League to Karabag. And now, what do you know? Jose Mourinho being lined up as a man to replace him. Let's find out the strength of this story. In fact, is it happening? The editor-in-chief of Record newspaper in Portugal is Sergio Cristinas, and Sergio's joined the show before and does so again this morning. Sergio, good morning to you. Mourinho at Benfica, is it happening?
Morning. I think it's written in the stars, right? I think it will happen eventually. There were talks already. Bruno Lage was sacked last night. Benfica's president Rui Costa held a press conference at 1 a.m. in the morning, after 1 a.m. in the morning, and yeah, they have made it official. The part ways with Bruno Lage, and I think that moment they already had approached Jose Mourinho. They asked him. There have been talks with him, and what. Rui Costa also promised that Benfica will have a new head coach on Saturday. They play the next league game on Saturday, and they will have the new head coach by then. And so we all expect Mourinho to be announced until tomorrow, maximum Friday, I think.
Wow. How do you greet that news, Sergio? How do the rest of the Portuguese media feel about it?
It's not a big surprise for us, actually, because you have to understand the moment. Benfica, as most clubs in Portugal and also in Spain, they don't have owners. The owners are the members, because it's an association. And so Benfica will have elections in a month, on October 25th, to vote for the new president. And Rui Costa is under a lot of pressure right now, because in the last 4 years of his term as Benfica president, Benfica only won once the league with the German coach Roger Schmidt. He's for the second time he's sacking a coach after the start of the season. It happened also last year when Bruno Lage was appointed. Benfica had sacked Roger Schmidt after 4 league games, and so right now his presidency is under a lot of pressure. There are 5 candidates running against him, so that's 6 candidates total. And one of them is the former president of Benfica, Luís Filipe Vieira. And Rui Costa, I think, is trying to get a rabbit from his hat, trying a big name, a huge name that the fans respect a lot, that will somehow protect and be a shield for him and for his re-election.
I see, and Mourinho's a big rabbit out the hat. Danny Murphy and Simon are with me. Sergio, here's Simon.
Sergio, how is Mourinho viewed in Portugal these days? I mean, in this parts of the world, I'm a big fan of Mourinho. I maintain that respect for him, but his career is going in a certain way, and obviously not being particularly successful at Fenerbahce, it seems he's working his way down the quality of clubs. How's he viewed over in your part of the world now?
Mourinho was the biggest sports personality in Portugal until probably 2011-12, when he was at his height at Real Madrid. Then, of course, Cristiano Ronaldo overpassed him, I think. But until then, Mourinho was the number 1 in Portuguese football, in my opinion. And he was totally, everybody loved Mourinho in Portugal. All his antics, all his bad mood sometimes, all his reactions. People loved him. He was a national hero. But in the last years, yes, I think there are some doubts. Lots of clubs where things didn't go well. I think particularly Roma, Fenerbahce, even Spurs, although he had the chance to play the final and couldn't do it, the cup final, League Cup final, or cup final. Yeah. And so there is this feeling that is not the old Mourinho anymore. And of course, I think if Benfica signed Mourinho, let's say 5 years ago, probably, I think the fans will be euphoric, ecstatic with that. Like it was a massive name. Right now, I don't think that's such a big such a big name that will convince the fans to vote for Rui Costa. Right now, I'm not sure if that's enough to keep Rui Costa safe as president of Benfica.
Sure. What do you think, Sergio? Should your match officials in Portugal be worried?
Mourinho is just one in Portugal. We have a lot of guys that have learned a lot with Mourinho. Mourinho left Portugal in 2004, 21 years ago. But he left. He made a big school, and lots of coaches in Portugal have been in that school and had really good degrees on putting pressure on the linesmen.
I mean, just a question for you about the timing of this. Would Bruno Lage have lost his job if Mourinho wasn't? Mourinho was still in situ at Fenerbahce. I mean, Benfica are not that bad this season. If they win their game in hand, they were second in the league. They've gone through the qualifying groups of the Champions League and done okay in them. So he doesn't appear to have done that badly. If there wasn't this availability of Mourinho, would the current manager have got sacked, do you think?
Yes, I think it would happen the same way. First of all, because Bruno Lage is not one of the fans' favorite. The mood around him in the stadium yesterday, the game was really... I think we're 2-0 up by 15, 16 minutes of the game. And there was not joy in the stadium, that feeling that the first mistake from the team, you feel, you start to hear the booing and then all the nerves around you, and you feel that the atmosphere was terrible already for Bruno Lage. And of course, in Portugal, it's not a competitive league as it is in the Premier League, of course. Benfica had a really bad performance last Friday against Santa Clara. They were playing against 10 men after 30 minutes. They played 1 hour with 1 man more, and they didn't win the game, and they didn't create chances to win the game. They conceded the goal in the last minute, and they equalized, but it was a really bad performance. And after losing this Champions League game against the weakest team that Benfica will face, it's impossible to keep a coach like that after that. The next game, for sure, the fans will be booing from the beginning. The pressure is huge, and I think Mourinho's availability is not the key. I think probably the key, apart from the mood around the coach, of course, is also the fact that Benfica has elections in just over a month, and that makes a lot of pressure on the board to make a decision that pleases the fans. That's, I think, the key.
Okay. Sergio, thank you so much for joining us. Great information from you. So Sergio there, who's the editor-in-chief of Record newspaper in Portugal, saying Mourinho, maybe not today, maybe tomorrow or the day after, but certainly he should be installed by the weekend. He's back, and back in Portugal at Benfica, 11:30.
understand Jose Mourinho will take over at Benfica. Bruno Lage was sacked after they lost at home to Karabag. And get this, Mourinho's first Champions League game back at Benfica would be at Chelsea, live on talkSPORT a week on Tuesday. Former Chelsea captain Andy Townsend told us things always change when Mourinho walks through the door.
He wants to get straight back involved, and look, that he creates a lot of excitement. He creates anticipation. Yes, he frustrates a bit at times, particularly as he's got older. But you cannot doubt that he's a proven winner, knows how to do it, and is adamant about doing things his way.
Thomas Franks hailed a tough 1-0 win over Villarreal in the Champions League, but talkSPORT's Troy Deeney says Spurs need more.
They'll struggle to get out of the Champions League group phases playing like this. They have to raise the level. Maybe there's a nervous energy. Maybe there's a just get the job done for the first night.
It was Spurs' 4th clean sheet in 5 games, but they needed an absolute howler from keeper Luis Jr. to gift them the goal. And was Xavi Simons lucky not to get a second yellow for that challenge on Nicolas Pepe?
I think it just because it looked dangerous, it can't be a yellow all the time.
Elsewhere, Keith Andrews' strong start continues at Brentford. They beat Aston Villa on penalties in the Carabao Cup. Palace also needed penalties to beat Millwall.
It's showtime on talkSPORT with BetMGM. Get ready for the golden era of sports betting. Visit betmgm.co.uk or download the app. 18+gambleaware.org.
And at this stage in the proceedings, BetMGM's Charlie Robertson joins us live on the show. Charlie, good morning to you, mate. Carabao Cup last night, and tonight, Swansea Forest. I wonder what you're thinking about that.
Morning, Jim. Morning, Simon. Morning, Danny. Yeah, a few interesting results in the EFL Cup last night, weren't there, Jim? Obviously, Grimsby continuing their fairy tale run by getting past Sheffield Wednesday.
Well done, Grimsby. Well done.
Yeah, brilliant story, isn't it? And then, yeah, Palace probably not quite as convincing as Simon hoped for, but they did get the job done against Brentford. Sorry, who was it against? It was
Millwall.
Millwall. Sorry, Simon. Millwall. And Brentford got through against Villa on penalties. So. And just how that sort of affected the outright prices, Jim. Palace are now 12-1, which I think looks a pretty nice price considering how well they've done in cups in recent seasons. Brentford 16-1, and if we're hoping for a bit more from Grimsby, they're 200-1 to win the whole tournament, Jim. So a few patriotic Grimsby fans, I might have a few quid on that.
Yeah, good on them.
And then very quickly, as you mentioned tonight, Jim, Swansea against Forest. The visitors have won their last 2 against Swansea 5-1 and 4-1, so not great omens for the home side. Forest 16-25, the draw 3-1, and the host 19-5 in that game, Jim.
Okay, Swansea Forest. Can you see an upset? It would be an upset, wouldn't it?
No.
No.
Well, as long as he goes reasonably strong. Forest have got so much talent, they should be comfortable.
Were you not tempted to go to Palace last night and get some abuse from the Millwall fans?
No.
That would have been funny.
That would have been delightful.
Yeah. Champions League tonight. What are you thinking, Charles?
If all right, Jim, I'm just going to quickly look back on last night before tonight.
Yes, of course.
Get the order right, Jim.
Yeah. Two sort of solid performances from Arsenal and Spurs, Jim. I watched most of the Arsenal game, and they were pretty solid. I think Simon mentioned, they weren't playing a great side in Bilbao, but they got the job done. And we've actually cut them for the tournament. They're actually now co-favourites with Liverpool and Barcelona at 6-1.
Wow!
I was actually at the Spurs game last night, Jim, to watch Spurs. It wasn't a great watch, but did watch Mickey van der Ven, who I thought was by far the best player on the pitch. I just wanted to ask Danny about him. Danny, we've obviously got some amazing centre-backs. Being a Liverpool fan, obviously Van Dijk is right up there. But do you think Van der Ven's in that sort of elite category these days, or do you think he's got a little bit more work to do? He's obviously had not a great injury record.
Well, I think he's a super talent. It's going to help him not playing as open as they did last year for sure. And that partnership he's got's good with Romero. But he's still got a bit to become as accomplished as some of the people we, like Van Dijk, for example. But
would he walk into the Liverpool side?
No, because he's a lefty and Virgil plays on the left side of the centre half. So no, he wouldn't. But he would be a welcome addition.
Thank you, Danny. Well,
I don't think Tottenham will be selling him anytime soon.
No, I don't think so. So, Charlie, you feel that we can go on to Champions League last night?
Yeah, we can, Jim. I think, as Matt Gibson mentioned yesterday, the sixfold for all the English sides was 120 to 1. Obviously, with Spurs and Arsenal winning, for those that got on that's still going. But if people fancy Chelsea, Liverpool, City and Newcastle to still, for those that didn't get on, that's a 29 to 1 shot. So quite a nice price for the 4 English teams to get through. Obviously not easy games. Danny, Simon, of those 4 sides, who do you think has sort of posed the biggest challenge? Would it be Barcelona against Newcastle, or perhaps Bayern against Chelsea tonight?
Well, no, hang on, Danny. This will be good. Go on, you take that one.
I was whispering to him, wasn't I? Didn't I say to you?
No, you weren't.
Newcastle, Barcelona is the challenging one for that bet. But then again, Bayern Munich versus Chelsea.
I think Newcastle at home against anybody's got a better chance than Chelsea winning in Bayern.
Yeah,
I think Chelsea have got the toughest task out of everybody. Yeah. Bayern are strong at the minute and a hard place to go.
Do you think Bayern will beat Chelsea?
Yeah.
You don't think Barcelona's going to be a tough game? They just ripped Valencia.
Oh, of course, yeah. But Newcastle at home.
All that for all.
When they played PSG, was it 2 seasons?
It was 2 seasons ago, wasn't it?
Is it Furore or Furore? Furore, is it?
Furore, isn't it?
Okay.
Come on.
No, thanks for that.
Are we talking grammar here now?
So the English clubs at the moment, 120 to 1. All of them to go through, and it's still alive, that bet, right?
Yeah. So obviously after Spurs and
that wasn't the bet, was it? It was 120 to 1 for all 6 teams to win, wasn't it?
All 6 teams to win this week, Jim. So after Spurs and Arsenal, those punters that got on that are still hoping. But I think, as Danny said, I think it's one of the last 23 home games that Bayern have lost in the Champions League. So. Chelsea have got probably a pretty difficult test at the Allianz tonight, Jim, which is the one that could let that bet down.
And I take it next week with the Ryder Cup just almost upon us, there'll be a lot of golf chat with Danny. It'll be a totally different feel to it, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very much so. Well, also, I'm sure we'll get Simon in. I know he's keen to ask for his insights on golf after last week, Jim. So.
Charlie, thank you very much indeed. That was a look at the latest odds thanks to BetMGM. Visit betmgm.co.uk, download the app. 18 plus, be gamble aware. We know what it is. .org.
It's showtime on talkSPORT with BetMGM. Keep things golden with responsible play at betmgm.co.uk. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
Danny, keen to get your thoughts on this. Raheem Sterling, I don't know if you've seen this. Producer Luke showed me it this morning. There's been quite a reaction of sympathy, largely, towards Raheem Sterling. He posted a picture on Instagram this week of an empty Cobham training pitch. That's Chelsea's training ground. There it is. If you're watching at the moment on TV, you can see it. Highlighting the time of 8:20 at night with the caption, training, alongside a handshake and cold face emoji. Now, Sterling, for those who don't know, hasn't been part of Chelsea's first team plans for some time, remains on the outside looking in, alongside the likes of Axel Disasi and Fofana. Now, Enzo Maresca has been talking about this, the so-called bomb squad, those who are not taking part in training with the main squad. And he spoke to the newspapers. I'm not sure what your take is on what Maresca says here, Danny. He says, they are Chelsea players because they have a contract with the club. At this moment, they're still training apart. The idea is to continue in exactly the same way. Since we started the season, I didn't see one of them. I didn't see Renato Vega. I didn't see Axel Disasi. I didn't see Raheem Sterling because they train at a different time on a different pitch. I haven't seen them since we started the season. But Enzo, you're the guy that made them the outcast, are you not?
Well, it's hard to speak specifically about each individual, but if you want to get out badly enough and play football, you generally find a way. If that means you have to cut your wages a bit, then you have to cut them. You can look at it both ways, because I've had brief times where I've been training away from the squad, and it is tough. It is tough, but let's put it in perspective to real life.
Was that in the evening, like Sterling is doing here?
No, a bit later in the day, not in the evening.
But when you were training, Danny, did you think, I'll make a good impression here? Tricky, I know, to imagine Danny doing that, but I'll make a good impression here, and that might springboard me back into the main squad?
Yeah, I stayed pretty focused, actually, just for myself, really. Not thinking I'd be back in the squad, but keeping myself as fit as I could, because I knew that chapter would come to an end. And those lads will have, hopefully, opportunities in January, so they've got to do it for themselves. I see both sides to
it's
the
not
argument.
a new message, though, is it? I mean, he slung him out last year. He went out the door to Arsenal, did nothing at Arsenal.
Oh, no, you're right, Sam. He makes no bones about it. He says, he was asked, is there any way back into the first team for those players, like Disasi and Vega and Sterling? Maresca said, what with us? No.
No, he made his decision a year ago. Sterling went out and had an opportunity to create a new narrative about himself. Did nothing. Done nothing particularly for Chelsea to justify the £48 million transfer fee they paid for him. Nothing to justify the £300,000 a week he's on at Chelsea, besides the history of his performances somewhere else. And so now he has a choice, Sterling. But besides putting a picture of himself and only thing that's missing is some violin music behind it, he can compromise himself out of a contract and be prepared to accept less money. So what he's doing now, it would seem, is saying that the money side of things is more important than the playing side.
Which is his prerogative. And he might be absolutely fine.
So let's pack it in with the sympathy stuff then. Because if anyone is, not us, of course, but in the idea that people are saying if they feel hard done by, or that there's a sentiment of feeling that he should be given an opportunity. He's had opportunities. He didn't do them at Chelsea prior to the manager arriving. The manager made his position entirely clear, which is entirely fair for him to do. If he doesn't fancy Raheem Sterling, he's allowed not to. He went out to Arsenal. Sterling didn't prove him wrong. Didn't prove anybody wrong. Right? Comes back from Arsenal, he can go and say, well, actually, if Chelsea are prepared to write off the 18 million worth of transfer fee that's left on their books, and I can go on some form of free or a discounted transfer fee to make it happen, I'll be prepared to take a view on my salary to be able to get myself playing. But it would appear because someone somewhere would take Raheem Sterling if it was on the right kind of money for them to slot into their budget.
Yeah.
Clearly, so then when you're posting a picture of yourself on Instagram, give it a break. These are the choices that you've made. If you're posting it to elicit...
Well, is he posting it for sympathy?
Well, why
no,
else
he might
would you do
not
it?
be.
I mean, what is the purpose of posting an Instagram picture of
to
yourself
show
on
how
training?
excited you are.
Oh, come on. You know what it's about.
Well, 8:20 at night, Danny. You kind of see where he's going with it. Training in inverted commas, alongside a handshake and a cold face emoji. In your time at Palace, did you ever have any of these bomb squads? Players still under contract, but having nothing to do with the first team?
Yeah, of course you do. It's like the bomb squad.
Did you okay that?
I okayed the manager to make decisions that he felt that he needed to make with players.
Did you make them train at night?
He didn't make them do anything.
It's unusual to train.
They had a responsibility to train at the times that was conducive with getting the outcomes that was required. To be honest with you, you can care less if they trained or not half the time. It was an obligation upon you, because if you didn't, in come those busy little scroats, the PFA, that have nothing else to do when it has anything meaningful, saying you've got to have a sporting chance if you don't.
To be honest, the other thing as well is he might have been training at night because the first team might have been training at night on another pitch, and he's with the there's no context to it.
So what?
But the thing is here, Danny, I know he's getting next to no sympathy with them, but Sterling, Disasi and Fofana, well, are they not sitting there at night thinking...
What else are they doing?
Or is it Vega? Are they not sitting at night thinking, we've hit a brick wall here?
Some players do it differently. Some crack on and keep themselves really good, and others become dismissive and just don't care. It depends on the individual and what you want from your next chapter. The worst thing you can do is start feeling sorry for yourself and not put it in, because you'll end up suffering. And when you do get the opportunity, you won't be ready.
The bigger question above all this is, why has Raheem Sterling gone into such marked decline? Why has he gone from a player... I mean, I've never rated him that highly anyway. So why has he gone from a player that was perceived to be a match winner at Manchester City, perceived to be the match winner for England in the Euros of 2020, I think it was, and now cannot get a game at two leading football clubs and is marginalised to such a level that he can't even train with the first team now. The question is, how's that happened? He's 30 years of age.
Yeah.
He's not, and this decline has been going on since he was 27.
Well, way back at the beginning of this, and I'll put it to you, Danny, and then, God love me, I'll put it to Simon. Do these players deserve any sympathy?
Not really.
No.
No. Well, I understand it because I'm a player and I know how tough it can be.
Exactly.
But generally, you're not going to get sympathy.
What about old heartless Harry?
Okay.
When you're earning 200 bags a week, people
forget
aren't
what
going
you're
to
earning.
sympathy. You can't forget it.
No, forget what you're earning, because the only time it ever comes into what you're earning is when you're not doing what you should be doing. The question is, who brought this upon him? If the answer is himself, then how can anybody in a real world, without being ridiculously over-sentimental about something that they've got no fundamental understanding of, have any empathy with it?
But is there much sympathy? Are we creating a narrative that's not really there?
Well, it's all down to the Instagram post, isn't it? And what messages he's sending. Anyway, if Early stages in the Championship. Middlesbrough at the top, played 5-1-4, going well. They lead the way by a point from Stoke. Down at the bottom, no prizes for guessing Sheffield United. In fact, the two Sheffield clubs, Sheffield Wednesday, have a point to the name. Sheffield United, rock bottom, played 5-1-0. No points whatsoever. Hence, cue Chris Wilder to the rescue. He is back in situ, not for a second, it's for a third time. And he comes for a third time in charge of the football club. In fact, 90 days or so after he was sacked. So what can he do? Can he turn it around? I spoke to Chris a short time ago and I said, what do you think? You pleased to be back?
Yeah, great. It feels as if I've never left, really. So meeting familiar faces, whether they're staff or players, great to get back at the coalface, Jim.
You're working again with the same people who sacked you 90 days ago. Have you managed to rationalise that in your own mind?
Obviously, massively disappointing. It's been a disappointing summer, you know, with the sort of loss at Wembley and the manner of how that happened as well, and then the news afterwards. So, listen, did I agree with it? No, but you know, I always had a really good relationship with the owners when they came in December, January, and got to meet and got to know them. And as I said, and when I'm record and saying, you know, it was their decision. They wanted to go down a different path. I've got to say, meeting them and speaking to them sort of over that little period over the weekend, and knowing what they were about, really, you know, I thought, you know, fair play to them to sort of want to engage with me regarding a return. So, no issues at all, Jim. You know, they're good guys. They want the club to do well. They've just gone down a path which they've said in their statement that maybe they weren't ready for, or they shouldn't have gone down. You know, for them to humility in terms of wanting to talk to me, could quite easily have not wanted to talk to me and gone down another different path, but they wanted to talk to me and thought I was the best man for the job, and that's good enough for me, Jim.
That said, Chris, was there a part of you that made you think, no, you can do one here?
Maybe at another club, but not at this club, Jim. You know, I think, you know, I've got a unique relationship and history with it. I don't think anybody else has got that, really, from ball boy, supporter, ball boy, player, coming back, manager a couple of times, and sort of the successes that we've had, and, you know, and sort of a couple of low periods that we've had as well. So, unique relationship with supporters and everybody connected to the club. So, you know, really, not really an option not to come back.
Simon, yesterday, Chris, called the ownership somewhat foolish for pivoting so soon regards yourself. But now, do you have a clear idea about what their ambitions actually are?
Well, yeah, but, you know, it's an incredibly tough division, Jim. As you know, it's ruthless, it's relentless. I don't think people realise how difficult it is to win games of football. I don't think people realise maybe how difficult it is to build what you're trying to do. You know, some teams come out of the Premier League and not seen there for years. So, of course, the aim is to first and foremost now is to win a game of football after the disappointing start that has happened, and to win a host of games to try and put yourself in contention in around January and see where it goes. But yeah, but listen, we're on the back foot a little bit, but it's a tough division. We're trying to develop players as well. We did that last season in terms of being the third youngest group in the division, which I think goes unnoticed a little bit, Jim. And I think internally in the football world, I think people recognise that we did a decent job last season and found ourselves in third place behind two teams that reached 100 points, which is, I've got to say, I don't think ever happens again. Us to get 92 points and miss out in the way we did, some people, and even maybe locally, we'll look at that as maybe not doing what we expected to do. But we go again, and let's win a game of football on Saturday and try and turn this around.
As you mentioned, Chris, you're up against it, and that's none of your doing. But no team in the EFL's history, has ever lost their first 5 games and got themselves promoted. Can you buck that trend? I know we're still in September, there's a long way to go, but could you turn it round?
Well, I can definitely turn the mentality round. You know, as I've seen over the last couple of days, you know, the boys are broken. I think everybody in football has seen sort of the scenes after the Middlesbrough game and after the Ipswich game from a team that went so close, and the majority of the group's still there. We lost a couple in Vinny Souza and El in the summer. But I've got to say, you know, the owners have really backed the recruitment drive. The players that we brought in, you know, really good championship players that I believe can play iron. We've got some good experience in there. Ben Mee, Tanganga from Millwall, Danny Ings, Che Bonnet from Ipswich, Mark McGuinness, Chongi from Luton. there's some proper players in there, and there's some proper players there last season. So, I think, trying to galvanise the supporters is pretty easy. Lifting the morale of the staff. Majority of that staff, Jim, a staff that was inherited by the new manager. And most importantly, is getting the tune out of the players. So I know the players. I know them inside out. I've promoted the majority of them and signed the majority of them as well. And the other guys are really good boys. Just speaking to Ben Mee and Danny Ings and the careers that they've had, and they've not come to sit here in a lower table championship team. They've come to achieve, and we've got to get that ball rolling on Saturday afternoon.
I tell you what, ball boy to player to manager 3 times. You must love this place, Mr. Wilder.
It's close to my house, Jim. It's comfortable for me to drive it. I think that the people around me might get after me if I don't do well. So I've always got that pressure on my toes, Jim.
And up for them this weekend, Sheffield United at home to Charlton. He's got it all to do, though, Simon, but if anybody can.
Yeah, I mean, there's 3 managers in Sheffield United's history that have produced outcomes that are really worth talking about. Dave Bassett, Neil Warnock, and this guy. And whilst I've had my issues with him about certain things, I think that the job he did last year was well worthy of at least retaining his job. And to lose it, I thought was absurd. And they're very fortunate that they can go back to the fact that he's a Sheffield United fan. He makes the joke of it that he lives close to the ground, but he doesn't mean that. That's him being whimsical, and I think there's a nice side of his character that you see there. But the fact is that they're lucky that he can go, that they can pull back on him, because most people would have said, how about do one?
Yeah.
And the fact they can go back to him at this stage and go, well, we made a bit of a fool of ourselves. We decided to go for a progressive manager, and there was no progression. It was regression. So I suspect he'll go in there and he'll galvanise them. They've got Charlton at home on the weekend. There's nothing more delightful for me to see Sheffield United smashing Charlton into the next life. So I hope he does well.
Good to speak, Chris. Thank you so much for the chat. We're coming up to 12 noon this Wednesday lunchtime. It's Jim White, Simon Jordan, Danny Murphy, courtesy of Selco, where the trade goes.
talkSPORT Sports Update, powered by the Nissan Van Range. Commercial vehicles that go the distance for your business. Search Nissan Vans or head to your local Nissan Van Centre.
For your headlines at 12:02, I'm Nick Ellaby. Good afternoon. We're told Jose Mourinho could be unveiled as Benfica's new head coach as early as tomorrow. The editor-in-chief of Portuguese newspaper Record also says Bruno Lage's sacking is not a big surprise. Sergio Critinas told White and Jordan Benfica's under-pressure president Rui Costa's trying to pull a rabbit out his hat.
A big name, a huge name that the fans respect a lot, that will somehow protect and be a shield for him and for his re-election.
Mourinho's first Champions League game back at Benfica would be at Stamford Bridge, live on talkSPORT 2 a week on Tuesday. Meanwhile, following Chris Wilder's second homecoming, he's spoken exclusively to White and Jordan on his championship aims at Sheffield United.
First and foremost now is to win a game of football after the disappointing start that has happened, and to win a host of games to try and put yourself in contention in around January and see where it goes. But yeah, listen, we're on the back foot a little bit, but it's a tough division.
The Blades are home to Charlton, live on talkSPORT 2 this Saturday lunchtime. talkSPORT's Danny Murphy says Arteta relabelling subs as finishers helps keep the squad together, and a lot of players are all right with starting on the bench these days.
I think players are more okay with being a squad player because they're so well compensated, and it's just become that way. There will still be players who'll be fuming. If you look at Mo Salah, if he comes off in the 90th minute in a game, he's still fuming. That's just his mentality. So some players have still got that.
Martinelli and Trossard both came off the Arsenal bench to score in Bilbao, giving them a win. Liverpool and Chelsea are both in action live on the talkSPORT network this evening. And Thomas Partey has pleaded not guilty to charges of rape and sexual assault. He's appeared in court in London 12 hours after playing for Villarreal at Spurs. Partey's trial is set for November next year.
talkSPORT News.
Queen Camilla will be attending Donald Trump's state visit despite recovering from a sinus infection, and a man's been charged with allegedly blackmailing people working in Westminster. There's more from the news team at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. At QuickFit, we're all about keeping you safe on the road. With our comprehensive motor insurance, we're here for every journey. Search QuickFit Motor Insurance to find out more.
Heavy spells of rain in the west. That's moving northeast and will hang around over northwest Scotland. In the south, staying cloudy with outbreaks of rain, and a breezy day for us all.
Good afternoon, everybody. 5 minutes past 12 noon. It's Jim White, it's Simon Jordan, and it's Danny Murphy, and we are live on talkSPORT. Big week of domestic football, big week of European football as well, of course, and some of the biggest clubs in England in the biggest competition of the lot, the Champions League. Newcastle fans might be buoyed up with reports that Lamine Yamal is reportedly ruled out of Barcelona's Champions League tie up in the northeast tomorrow night, out due to injury. That one is live on talkSPORT. Chelsea, meantime, not tomorrow night. They're in action tonight. They travel to Bayern Munich. They are in action tonight, and that one is live on talkSPORT 2. I wonder if Chelsea fans have got a feeling about this. After conquering the world in the summer, can Chelsea now go on and conquer Europe too? Because remember, they became Club World Cup champions. Are they going to become Champions League champions again? Todd Bowley, of course, co-owner at the football club, spoke to this show just a day after they won over in the USA. They won the big prize, the Club World Cup. And he said, yeah, Chelsea fans should be optimistic.
I think the boys have shown that, they are, a force to be reckoned with. And we knew all along in the value of the project, but we're hopeful that every day we wake up, the odds are that, Chelsea is going to win something big.
And they did. But this was a tournament I don't think Danny Murphy had much time for. Am I right? And yet they won it. Chelsea won it.
Well,
when you look at it now, do you think, yeah, fair play?
Well, there was huge financial reward for winning it, which we know. And maybe in some quarters, some kudos. From a footballing perspective, I don't see that. I didn't watch hardly any of it, to be honest with you.
Does it do anything for the mentality of the dressing room?
I don't think so.
Club World Cup champions. Chelsea going against Bayern Munich tonight. That's how I tagged it.
Must do, Danny.
I think if you beat a team like PSG and the hype around them and you feel good about that, gives you some belief. Yeah, the actual title of winning it, maybe to some players. I don't think to the better players. They know it. They know what it is. It was a tournament that was made for money, without the best teams in Europe. Be it there was a few good teams there. The rest were average teams they had to play against. So I don't think credible players who've got a bit about them see it as some sort of huge award, or I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
They've got it on their chests, so haven't they?
Amazing.
Club World
That'll help. That might help them tonight in Munich. Then we'll see.
No, it won't. But I think the fact is that Chelsea have won a tournament. They competed in it. They won it. Whatever you think of it, I think this tournament will become more and more meaningful. The Champions League is all about money. So there's no distinction between this competition and the Champions League. The Champions League is now playing more games. There's more revenue being generated. There's more money going to the sides. The minimum entry, and you're seeing Man City turning up and getting 65 million for turning up in the Champions League. That's before they win a game and before they distribute some of their gate attendances. So the nature of football, to say it's about money, it's all about money. The whole thing's about money.
Yeah.
And some of it's about participation. Chelsea won a competition by beating PSG. It leads them into a new mentality and a new era in this club. If you talk about whether John Terry was in that dressing room, or Ashley Cole was in that dressing room, or whoever else were great Chelsea players at the time, Drogba, and on and on and on, maybe they'd have diminished it because they were used to winning other things. This Chelsea group ain't won anything. So with due respect, this is an opportunity for them to build. Yes, of course they won the European Conference League. I accept that, but let's have it right. That's the third tier of European football, and it really will be looked at the run to the.
Well, if that's the case, then that would apply the same.
It does. It does. It has the same value because
you do get used to winning as a habit. That's for sure.
Yeah,
I think some players will benefit from it too.
So it has value.
To a degree.
And it will become a tournament, and it's not going to go away, I suspect. And the only thing that really seeded this tournament in negative thinking was the way that the media campaigned against it for a very long period of time, telling everyone they didn't have broadcast deals, it didn't have this, it didn't have that, it didn't have the other. It was played in this space.
It's the lack of quality in it.
But go to the World Cup and watch England beat Iran 6-0.
Exactly.
In every competition, you will have minnows in there. That's the nature of the beast, and they don't become minnows further down the line. They get an opportunity to develop.
Yeah, but you win. The title is you're the best team in the world. The reality is,
but sometimes are you the best team?
The champions of the best league.
When your lot won
the champions of the best league in the world weren't even there.
But I get it. But when you won the 2005 European Cup, did anyone turn around and say that you were the best team in Europe?
The champions of Europe were there, Danny.
Yes,
PSG and Chelsea beat them.
Yeah, but you know the qualification process and how that worked for the teams in that tournament. It's got to be. I think it would if you change the remit on the teams that go there and get the best teams there, then it might mean something.
But again, the qualification for things doesn't always mean the best team wins. But I think the real thing is that where it was staged is where I disagree with the principle of how you can take it as seriously as you want to. If that competition had been played in Europe, without being played in North America, without having storm warnings and hurricanes and tornadoes in a country...
Chelsea still had to nonetheless
I'm not
beat what was
disputing
put in
it.
front
I'm
of them.
talking about the argument that people devalue the currency of it. This is the domestic football campaign. The biggest and most valuable leagues in domestic football are in Europe. They account for 70% of the global revenue that's attached to domestic football. So why play a tournament in North America? Maybe because the sycophant Infantino saw it as a commercial opportunity, and maybe it cozies up to Trump because they've got another year to go before the World Cup. Who knows the methodology behind it? Or maybe the money was in the room there.
Yeah.
But that's the thing that I do think diminishes it. If it had been played in Europe, you might have had more currency from the Western media or from the European media about what it was and what it wasn't.
Well, two European giants go head-to-head tonight. Chelsea's one of them. They're in Germany to take on Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich, in their ranks, one Harry Kane. He's looking forward to this.
The rivalry was a good rivalry we had, especially early on in my Tottenham career, with the kind of that Pochettino era. And we had a lot of tough games, good games against each other. So, I think playing against Premier League opposition, there's always maybe a little bit more expectation around the game. Obviously, maybe the Chelsea fans don't like me as much. And when we play Arsenal, the Arsenal fans don't like me as much. But... that makes me want to play better. That motivates me. So yeah, look, there's going to be some familiar faces that I played against, some that I play with England. So all those things added, it just brings a little something special around the game.
Interesting on this one, going into it. Michael Owen speaking on the Rio Meets podcast regarding Harry Kane, he spoke about this. And Michael Owen saying, I disagreed with him going to Germany. I was outspoken about that. I still think he was nuts. You're on the verge of being the all-time Premier League goal scorer. I don't see it winning the Bundesliga. It's like if you go up and you move up to Celtic and you win the league, you're like, oh yeah, sure. You win every year, but there's no great achievement in that. So he really went all out on that, didn't he?
Well, I understand where he's coming from because I know Michael and the mindset of a striker and scoring goals and the personal accolades of being the greatest Premier League scorer would be big for any striker. So Michael's talking from a striker's point of view. I think Shearer would probably say the same, just the way they are. Being the all-time Premier League, I understand why he sees that as an opportunity missed. In terms of comparing Celtic to Munich, I wouldn't do that because at Bayern Munich, he was going to a club that are realistic winners of the Champions League. So I don't think he was just thinking domestically. I think he was thinking this is an opportunity of maybe winning Champions League as well.
He didn't want to stay come the end of his career,
and he lost the opportunity,
not having won anything.
Yeah, and he also lost the opportunity to go to City, didn't he, a couple of years ago?
Right.
And I don't think one of the other big boys was in. I don't think Liverpool or Arsenal would have been in, and not that he'd have ever gone to Arsenal anyway. So he was limited with his options. You're damned if you do and damned if you don't. If he'd have stayed at Tottenham just to try and win or become the Premier League's all-time goal scorer, he'd have got hammered from someone else saying he's got no ambition or, Well,
exactly. I mean, Owen says a great achievement would have been being the top goal scorer in the Premier League. But would it? If he goes to... He's at Bayern Munich now. He's already won one league title. If they win the Champions League this season, Kane can stick the two fingers up to Owen.
In a way, he could, possibly, yeah. But Michael's position is coming... Or Michael's thought process is coming from a striker who thinks about the strike and thinks about themselves and the records. Because if you become the Premier League's greatest all-time goal scorer, your legacy is greater.
Well, he could have been Liverpool's greatest goal scorer, but he decided to go to Real Madrid and sit on the bench. So I don't understand his point.
Yeah.
I mean, it's talking for talking's sake, isn't it? I know it's rich, but the fact of the matter is that there's an element of hypocrisy about what he's just said, because he made the same decision. He went to Real Madrid because he thought it was an opportunity. He left Liverpool, subsequently burnt the reputation of his, with Liverpool fans, albeit it was burnt worse by him going to Man United, and gave up the opportunity to be Liverpool all-time greatest goal scorer.
Which is true. Factually correct, Danny.
Yeah, well, that's true.
He forgot that when he was trotting out his opinion.
I mean, how's Michael?
I'm not sure Michael would have ever got to Russia,
How's he viewed in and around the football club in and around Liverpool?
Well, not particularly well.
That's because of Man United, isn't it?
Mainly to do with United, yeah. I mean, there's still a good core group of Liverpool fans who remember what he did and how good he was.
Yeah.
Because when Michael did what he did when I was there, he was one of the best in the world at the time. He won the Ballon d'Or. He was winning games on his own. He was doing things I'd never seen a player that age do. People were terrified of him. He was an incredible footballer. Pleasure to play on the same pitch as him. Made your life easy. I'd never have an FA Cup winners medal if it wasn't for Michael, because Arsenal battered us till Michael turned it on. So, I got a lot of respect for him. I think...
Is he a Liverpool legend?
Well, not in many fans' eyes, but I think he...
In your eyes?
Yeah. I think he would be, yeah.
Yeah.
For what he achieved.
Yeah. After Liverpool, instead of Charlton, Tottenham or Fulham, would you have ever gone to Manchester United?
I don't think so, no.
You don't think so?
Well, I'll tell you I'll tell you a really honest story. When I left Liverpool, when I was told I could leave Liverpool, and when Rafa didn't want me, Everton come in for me. And I spoke to Moisey, and I couldn't do it.
Why?
I just didn't want to shatter what I'd already, that I didn't want to do it. Couldn't do it. Something in me stopped.
Couldn't do it?
No.
You didn't have the bottle to do it?
Well, you look at it how you want. I didn't do it.
But going to a winning culture at Man United might have been more of a lure. Going to a culture at Everton,
you'd have
looked at it and gone,
Man United.
Yeah, do all my principles. How much am I getting paid and what am I going to win? Okay, yeah, I'm on my way.
I'll be right with you. Bayern Munich up against Chelsea tonight. Looking forward to that one immensely. That's live on talkSPORT 2. Seems as good a time as any. Break away from the world of football momentarily, because there is a major developing story in the world of athletics, and one of the biggest names in that sport is under more than a little pressure. I wonder what Simon and Danny make of this one. In a moment, we're going to be joined by talkSPORT's Olympic reporter Michael Waydock. A number of the world's leading athletes are considering taking legal action against former US Olympic champion Michael Johnson's Grand Slam track if the millions they are owed in appearance fees and prize money are not paid up by the end of this month. So the clock is ticking. Grand Slam track, it was pitched by Johnson as a new format that basically would see the best athletes go head-to-head in major cities across the world via a league setup. That's what's happened. The problem is nobody turned up to watch it. And now the bill has been left, and it's a considerable one, has been left with Michael Johnson. Michael Waydock joins us live. Michael, that basically is the story, but Johnson's in a heap of trouble here, isn't he?
Yeah, he is in a heap of trouble. Good afternoon to you. He's apparently owing £14 million to various athletes and suppliers. So the whole idea behind the Grand Slam track was there was going to be this sort of 4-meet series, if you like. It was going to be something that might have rivaled the Diamond League. They had the first meeting in Kingston in Jamaica. As I understand it, the athletes have been paid their appearance fees, but the athletes were there because they were promised big prize money, and they haven't had the big prize money. Then the event went to Miami, and then it went to Philadelphia. It never made its fourth and proposed final meeting there. And what we are hearing from a lot of the athletes, people like Josh Kerr, people like Daryl Neita, who are in action at the moment in Tokyo in the World Athletics Championships, is that they simply haven't received the money that they were promised. Now, of course, that fourth event was cancelled. You say, obviously, the crowds turned up. Probably not in as greater numbers for some of the sessions as was hoped. And as I said, this was meant to rival the Diamond League. This was meant to be the brand new era for Michael Johnson and athletics and track and field. We saw these magnificent performances at the Olympics in Paris last year. We saw American athletes sweep the board, but the athletes are just not remunerated in the same way that athletes in other sports are. And that is what Michael Johnson tried to address here. But it appears that some of his financial backers, the people that he said, you know, we're going to put 30 million into this at the start, didn't come through with the money. And that has left him, as you say, with a huge financial headache.
I mean, it seems he went into it with the best of intent, as far as I see it, Simon, but he also went into it blind. I mean, he used the BBC as recently as April to push the thing. And he says, our athletes deserve to be paid more money. We're going to do that.
Yeah, but I mean, and all of that's wonderful, but he wasn't funded. And so if he wasn't funded and sponsors and the revenue streams that he anticipated have suddenly fallen away, whether it be gate receipts from the attendances of the meetings or whether it be the major sponsors, then if the major sponsors are contractually obligated, then he's funded. If they've failed and their businesses have failed, that's something different. But it would appear that it was all a bit loose and fast. Now, for Michael Johnson, the big challenge for him is not the financial headache, because he'll just put the business in Chapter 7 or Chapter 11 and walk away from it. It's the reputational damage that goes with somebody that's such a prominent voice in athletics, such a brilliant athlete, that commanded and demanded so much respect. The reasons why he was on the BBC was not just the product that he had, was because he was a brilliant pundit and talked about such things in such a way that only a few athletes can talk it in that fashion.
Yeah, true.
He commanded kudos and respect. And so the fact he brought together a new generation of opportunities for athletes in an underfunded sport and gave them the value that they should be getting is the currency that he traded on. And he's not been able to deliver it as a businessman. So in real terms, the damage that will happen to him is reputational amongst his peers, his colleagues, the sport that he served so well.
Yeah.
And it's unkind, but it's the reality of the real world.
Of
You want
course.
to play in the big boys league and get yourself funded and offer athletes tens of millions of dollars in prize money and appearance money, you better make sure that money's banked and not on some contingency or some far-reaching sponsor that may feel like paying it or may not.
Yeah. Simon, I think, has nailed it, Michael. I mean, obviously, there was a big promise of money, 100 grand if you win your event at each of the meetings. And, of course, athletes were queuing up to take part. So he may walk away from this, Johnson, but reputationally, as Simon says, Michael, he's sunk, isn't he?
Yeah, Simon's exactly right there. I mean, there just wasn't the business plan in place. There just wasn't the money in the bank that Michael Johnson promised. I think, obviously, there were a few other flaws to it as well. It was very much centred on the North American market. And athletes and athletics and track and field in North America is really a minority sport. Despite all that success that I've already highlighted that the USA had, the American athletes had in Paris at the Olympic Games. It really is still not a huge sport in the States. That is why when LA hosts the Olympics, they've switched the program around. The athletics, that is the starter, building up to the swimming, that's the big revenue builder and the big one that's going to drive the audiences for American TV networks, NBC, which is going to be in the second week. We look at athletics as one of the key big main sports in this country, and it's regularly in there under various KPIs as one of the top 5 sports, but that's not the same in America. And what they tried to do with Grand Slam track was build this event around events in North America and around North American athletes, and it simply failed.
Is there still a need to do something in the sport? I mean, were Johnson's ideas right, just not thought through from the financial perspective? But does the need to change athletics and give it more of a glitz and glamour and pay the guys, pay the athletes, is that still required?
Yeah, absolutely, that is still required. And I think what World Athletics, which is the governing body led by Lord Coe, previously known as the IAAF, they're leading in this. They obviously paid prize money at the Olympic Games to gold medalists, something that had never happened before. These World Athletics Championships are taking place at the moment in Tokyo. Athletes are getting $70,000 for a gold medal there. Mondo Duplantis broke that world record in the pole vault, 6 meters 30 and $100,000 bonus. The Diamond League, I don't think, is fit for purpose at the moment. That needs looking at. We need to work out a Diamond League format or a Grand Slam track format that's going to work for the athletes, provide that prize money, get bums on seats, get a good TV deal. Another issue with the Grand Slam track was it was behind a paywall in America. It wasn't on one of the big TV networks either. So that was an issue for it as well. But in terms of that track and field program outside the major events like the World Championships and the Olympic Games, something desperately needs to be done to reward these great athletes for these fantastic performances that they're putting in.
Okay, Michael, thank you. Michael Waydock with us here this lunchtime. Johnson's in a heap of trouble, isn't he, Simon?
Well, reputationally he is. And the challenge for athletics, which is a great sport, I grew up watching athletics at the Crystal Palace National Sports Centre and grew up with people like Daley Thompson and Steve Cram, Steve Ovett, Sebastian Coe. There aren't the personalities, there aren't the broadcast deals, there isn't the revenue. The Diamond League finds itself in spaces where it goes to the taxpayer stadium and puts on events there when West Ham aren't playing. I don't know how it can fund itself because it is so far down the pecking order, and the avaricious Pac-Man beast that is football, that eats up every single sport, isn't leaving any space behind it. And so the crickets of the world are creating new formats, the rugbys of the world are trying to create new formats. We saw James Haskell come on the other day talking brilliantly about his podcast.
Yeah.
But athletics is so far down. I mean, we've got the World Athletics Championships on now.
No,
Have we mentioned?
No, we haven't mentioned it.
We haven't mentioned it.
No.
The only reason I knew it was on because my old dear loves it.
Yeah. Well, I'm with your old
were you,
dear.
My mother.
Yeah, yeah.
Were you track or field specialist?
Javelin.
Oh, this
Javelin.
Oh, sorry. Hang on a sec. I know. We're getting pushed to go to the.
Yeah, I have a few things I'd like to impale on my javelin.
What's your biggest throw?
You threw the javelin. You threw the javelin.
You asked me what I liked doing, and javelin was the sport I did in athletics.
Which one were you better at?
400 metres in javelin.
Oh, 400 as well.
Oh, 400 metres in
javelin.
And long jump.
Oh, here we go.
And high jump because I was tall.
Oh my God! Was there anything you didn't do?
So you could have been a decathlete, basically.
I could have been, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I like Daley Thompson, because I related to him. I saw similarities amongst ourselves here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. He's a leading athletics coach. I'm not going to name him. Rubbish. It's 12:30.
understand Jose Mourinho will take over at Benfica. Bruno Lage was sacked after they lost at home to Karabag. And get this, Mourinho's first Champions League game back at Benfica would be at Chelsea, live on talkSPORT a week on Tuesday. Former Chelsea captain Andy Townsend told us things always change when Mourinho walks through the door.
He wants to get straight back involved, and look, that he creates a lot of excitement. He creates anticipation. Yes, he frustrates a bit at times, particularly as he's got older. But you cannot doubt that he's a proven winner, knows how to do it, and is adamant about doing things his way.
Thomas Franks hailed a tough 1-0 win over Villarreal in the Champions League, but talkSPORT's Troy Deeney says Spurs need more.
They'll struggle to get out of the Champions League group phases playing like this. They have to raise the level. Maybe there's a nervous energy. Maybe there's a just get the job done for the first night.
It was Spurs' 4th clean sheet in 5 games, but they needed an absolute howler from keeper Luis Jr. to gift them the goal. And was Xavi Simons lucky not to get a second yellow for that challenge on Nicolas Pepe?
I think it just because it looked dangerous, it can't be a yellow all the time.
Elsewhere, Keith Andrews' strong start continues at Brentford. They beat Aston Villa on penalties in the Carabao Cup. Palace also needed penalties to beat Millwall.
EV Lover on talkSPORT with Arnold Clark Charge. Ultra rapid EV charging at an ultra low price. Find out more at arnoldclark.com.
Well, it's that moment. Thanks to Arnold Clark Charge, we have an electrifying cash prize to give away today. We've also got a place in our grand final in Glasgow next month up for grabs. One lucky winner will win a brand new MGS5 electric car, Danny. Joining us now, randomly selected from all the online entries, we are delighted to welcome to the show Southampton fan Elliot. Elliot, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Hope you're well.
I'm fine, thank you, mate. So is Simon, so is Danny, and we hope you're well. Elliot, I'll get through a whole bunch of questions here, and I'm looking for the right answers from you. I'll try and get through as many as I can because we're up against the clock. Didn't help me yesterday when Simon was saying my left ear, read them faster, but I'll do my very best. So, Elliot, you've got 60 seconds on the clock to answer as many as you can. They're questions about sporting speed and power. For each correct answer, you'll earn yourself a point, but £100 too. You're allowed to pass if you don't know the answer, so just do that quickly, but we can only accept your first response. So if you're our top point scorer at the end of the week, and so far, producer Luke, we've got 6 to beat. You've got 6 to beat, along with the cash, then you'll win a place in the grand final in Glasgow next month. You could win the car, the electric car. So, Elliot, that's about it. I'll get them out as quickly as I can, as fast as I can, the questions to you. On the clock... And the clock starts now. Which former quarterback and part owner of Birmingham City is the only player to have won 7 Super Bowl titles?
I can't think of his name. Pass. Sorry.
It was Tom Brady. Which F1 driver won his only world championship with the Braun GP team in 2009?
Alonso.
Jenson Button. Which country set the Olympic record in the men's 4x100 metres relay race in 2012?
Jamaica.
Correct. Stefan Edberg played 3 consecutive Wimbledon men's finals against which powerful opponent in 88, 89 and 90?
Pete Sampras.
Boris Becker. Which English rugby player, known for his explosive speed in the wing, played in 3 World Cup finals, scored England's only try in their World Cup final win in 2003?
Robinson.
Correct. Which team won their very first FA Cup trophy at the end of last season?
Crystal Palace.
Correct. Michael Jordan played for 2 NBA teams across his career, the Chicago Bulls and who else?
LA Lakers.
Washington Wizards. Phil Hill became the first person from which country to win an F1 World Championship?
Pass.
United States. Well, you did well, to be honest. The questions were tough, Elliot.
They were tough.
I should have got Tom Brady, though, shouldn't I, really?
Tom Brady. You scored 3. So you don't make it through to the grand final, but you've won yourself 300 quid this lunchtime.
Oh, I see you got the Crystal Palace question in there.
Yes, indeed.
Indeed.
Mr. Jordan knew that one right away. Of course he did.
Okay.
Sad to say that's it for you, but thanks for joining us, Elliot. You walk away with 300 quid. So if other listeners want to win some cash and you think you can beat the current top points total, which is 6, then have a go at coming in on tomorrow's show. Enter now at talksport.com/win. And we'll also be playing next week in Hawksby and Jacobs and in Drive the week after that for even more chances to win. It's all thanks to Arnold Clark Charge, ultra rapid EV charging at just 55 pence per kilowatt hour. Find out more at arnoldclark.com.
EV Lover on talkSPORT with Arnold Clark Charge for your chance to win a new MGS5. Enter online now at talksport.com/win.
I'm just looking at, well, you're my kind of Anne Ashton, aren't you, from The Golden Shot? Simon,
Pop Monkey, I'll say.
Pop Monkey.
Left a bit, right a bit, left a bit.
That's right. Fire. The questions were tough, weren't they?
I got 4.
You got 3.
4 I got.
Which 4? Go on then.
I got the first one, Tom Brady.
Yeah, you got Palace too.
I got Palace. I got
And
Jason
Jamaica.
Robinson. And I got Jamaica.
You didn't get Jason Robinson.
Yes, I did.
Where?
There, Jason.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
No,
you didn't.
Yes, I did.
Here's the thing, Simon, this will interest you, apart from our competition,
First?
in which you take a huge interest. This is a sad reality in terms of where we've got in boxing. Netflix have revealed that Terence Crawford's win against Canelo Alvarez to become the undisputed super middleweight champion attracted an estimated total worldwide 41.4 million viewers.
Indeed.
Now, when I heard that, I thought, that's pretty healthy, is it not?
Did you?
Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson, Danny, last year, Netflix. 125 million people watched that. I mean, it's unbelievable, isn't it? Even Katie Taylor's been, God love Katie, and well done for this. Her win over Amanda Serrano in their second fight on Netflix. It was on the undercard, the Tyson-Paul card, which says a lot here. 74 million live viewers.
So that's why they got that number.
And that's why they got that number.
But why is that? Because Jake Paul's got 75 million digital followers. So he would have ported them straight away into the Netflix environment. So with due respect, it's not comparing. Mike Tyson comes with a fabulous reputation, albeit for different reasons at different times, and is universally accepted around the world as one of the biggest names in boxing, and transcends the boxing world because he ticks the mainstream media box for a whole raft of good and bad reasons.
Are you telling me it's as simple as that every one of the followers of Jake Paul wants to see him fight in a ring?
I'm saying that the world that we live in now, which is the digital space, dwarfs lineal perspectives, dwarfs the mainstream media now, as we've discussed this before. And so it's no surprise to me that the numbers that we're comparing is based upon somebody that's got such an enormous digital presence on a streaming platform, so the digital connectivity and people's relatability to being able to utilize the technology is easy because they're already in the digital space.
Do you find it a little bit sad that someone like that, not that he's a bad guy necessarily, but has 75 million.
But look at it, 41 million people watched a boxing match that didn't really... Over here, the excitement wasn't great for it. The boxing fraternity was excited about it.
This is maybe fight of the century.
There's 300...
Crawford against Canelo.
Yes, there's 300 million Netflix subscribers. 1 in every 14 of them... No, 1 in every 7 of them, watched this boxing. I think that tells you something in of itself.
Yeah.
Now, of course, we want to lament the fact that we've got, Sideshow Bob being able to get 125 million viewers in Jake Paul, and what that tells us about the next generation of people and the date and the things that they're prepared to watch.
Yeah.
That's a different discussion.
Well, a different discussion will be had tonight because Eubank and Ben go again, do they not? Later in the year, they'll fight again. Of course, Chris Eubank Jr. won first time around. They go head-to-head tonight, and goodness only knows what's going to come out of that news conference. We'll all watch it. No doubt there'll be news lines out of it because bearing in mind this is what happened the first time around.
I mean, I couldn't believe it the first time around. And, you know, we got to a stage, the fight was announced.
Eddie.
It was the...
You know I don't like you, right?
I don't know.
So, if you know that, what on God's sweet green earth makes you think I'm going to sit here and listen to any of the that you have to say about it?
To be honest, I mean, you're going to have to.
No.
You are?
We're not. We're going to have some parliamentary procedure here today.
Okay. Well, one thing's for sure, you ain't no prime
And
minister.
we're going to skip past whatever it was you thought you was going to talk about, and we're going to continue on with the press conference.
Listen, Chris can say what he wants. The bottom line is, his dad don't even like him. You could not pay that man enough money to sit in this man's corner. Now that's an accomplishment, Chris. That's an accomplishment. Well done. The most unlikable geezer on the planet. Even your dad don't like you.
Baby.
Man, drop the mic.
The family feud goes on.
Oh, tempers flaring there. I got that one wrong, didn't I?
And that was the moment Eubank Jr. slapped Conor Benn with an egg on the head, and it all kicked off. One wonders, Danny, what we're going to see tonight. The thing about that, and I would argue, and Simon probably would disagree with me, all that furore and nonsense in the build-up to the fight lived up to it and more.
I watched it, enjoyed it. It was a tremendous fight. And maybe because it was so good and so captivating that the build-up this time might not, well, hopefully won't be as comical. You know, I'm sure they don't like each other still, and they'll say whatever they've got to say, but let's hope we don't see any more of that.
I mean, it's probably an easier sell this time, isn't it?
I mean, I thought the build-up was fascinating in lots of ways. I mean, I felt that Chris Eubank...
Egging people.
Come on. He used the fact that the guy had swallowed...
I know.
Given a WBC defence that he'd eaten too many eggs to get past the failed drugs test. And he used irony to be able to make his points. And it sold, and it cost into the mainstream media. Their fathers and the legacy of their fathers carried it so much further than these two could ever carry it based upon their achievements to date. And so it became seeded into folklore. The fight itself, I mean, it's the least we can expect from them. The noise that we got from those two fighters about what they were going to do and how they were going to do it and what they were getting paid for it, given the fact it's a domestic fight with nothing on the line besides people's credibility, that of their fathers. You know, ultimately drained the weight, and people want to turn it into a great fight. It was a brawl. It was what it was. It was an honest. Everyone left everything in the ring. But if you're getting paid the kind of money these two guys are getting paid for a domestic fight, then that's the least you can do. We've got to stop celebrating people for doing what they should do. This is what they should do. They're fighters. I know that people are going to hate on me for saying that.
Yeah, but a lot of boxing matches do underwhelm.
Sure.
They do, Danny. They don't live up to the billing. You're
But they didn't have the noise. Yeah, but okay.
And this did and more. You got to concede that.
I'm lucky enough to go to lots of fights and watch lots of fights, and I appreciate good quality fighting. What we saw was two people that there was a lot of sentimentality about. I didn't care. I'm sorry, I'm not caught up in it. Make me sound like a miserable sod.
Yeah.
I didn't care whether Chris Eubank Sr. went or not. I didn't think about my father when Chris Eubank Sr. came out of the car.
It was an incredible moment. It really was. I was there.
Yeah,
the whole state.
I wonder how much paid for being there.
Crazy. It was a great night. I really enjoyed it.
If we go through the finances and find out Eubank Senior was paid to be there, I wonder how people will think about the sentimentality.
Well, honestly, you would have. Honestly, it was phenomenal.
You don't. Okay, well, we'll see.
Do you think he got
and I
paid,
really
Jim?
enjoyed it. Sorry.
Do you think he got paid to be there? Or I don't think that's a bit cynical.
Of course not. I really enjoyed it, all the more actually, in that Simon wasn't there because he had been sitting beside me. The launch press conference for their November rematch is tonight, so goodness knows where that will take us. And of course, you can hear it on talkSPORT.
This is the talkSPORT Goal Show. It's the show for the fans. It's done by the fans.
He is an unlocker of defences. That.
If you've got a problem or something to say, you don't have a right to say anything about something. I do.
This nonsense kills the game.
So, of course, don't miss your last chance to enter our biggest competition ever, £25,000 in cash. Tickets to see Oasis live at Wembley, Saturday, September 27th. 25,000 and Oasis tickets. Not bad. You've got till 9 o'clock Friday morning to enter, and here's how you can do that.
18 plus, UK excluding Northern Ireland. For a chance to win, text the word Oasis to 83338 and you're in the draw. Text costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. You must have the bill payer's permission. Or you can enter for free by calling 0330 880 338. All entries must be received by the 19th of September at 9 a.m. This is a talkSPORT limited promotion run on talkSPORT, Talk and Virgin Radio UK stations. Full terms and conditions at talksport.com.
Massive Champions League ties tonight, but as well as that, Carabao Cup action as well. And it sees Ange Postecoglou's Nottingham Forest travel to Swansea. So what's gonna happen there? At the weekend, Ange took a bow at Arsenal, but his Forest side went down by 3-0. And after that match, he was asked how long it might be before we see Forest playing his way.
Oh no, mate! It won't be months. It won't be weeks. It'll be Wednesday. You know, I can't afford to waste time. This is not a project. This football club had a strong season last year. It needs to be stronger this year. My job is to get us to where I want us as quickly as possible. So, you know, by Wednesday night we start seeing, some real principles being embedded. It won't take long, and I'm not going to let it take long. I'll make sure that we turn it around because. We've got an unbelievable opportunity this year to make an impact, and I'm not going to let that slip.
What's your take on that, Danny, when you hear it? The kind of theme coming out of that, this is no project.
Well, it's quite refreshing because normally what a manager will do is he'll talk about how time is needed and some patience and to implement ideas, and he's saying, I won't let it take long, I'll get those ideas put down quickly. So it's quite refreshing and quite intriguing to see how he does and see if he's adapted at all or whether it's just going to be gung-ho again. Or I'm really intrigued by it. I mean, he's a likeable guy. There's lots to like about Ange Postecoglou, but ultimately he'll be judged on what he's done. If you don't learn something managing the Premier League first time round, then you're not a bright man, are you? He's going to have learned. I think he'll still try and play good football and win games, but I think he'll be adaptable. I don't think it's going to be exactly the same. And they've got some good players for us, made some good signings. So I'm really intrigued to see how quickly they can become what he wants them to be.
I mean, basically, Simon, tonight he's hoping for obviously a 4 or 5 against Swansea, and then he can crank the whole thing up.
He's been brought in to win something. Like I said the other day, my nose tells me he's been brought in because they think they can win the Europa League, and Marinakis wants it, and he wants it now. So the fact he says this is not a project and that I don't have any time is because he's been told that. He's been told by Marinakis in no uncertain terms that this is the gig, this is the opportunity, and this is what I expect of you, so go ahead and do it. We've got a Europa League berth because Palace have been booted out. Go win it. That's what I expect. I guarantee you that's what he's been told.
Oh, Marinakis will be like, win this thing.
Because Marinakis has told everybody he's going to win things. Now he's got he's got wind in his sails. The team have finished 7th last year. They've got a Europa League berth. And
made some good signs.
And if they win the Europa League, where'd they go? Champions League.
Yes. Yeah, which is right up.
I mean, they signed Hutchinson.
then
signed
they'd have to put his stuff in a trust, wouldn't he? Because Olympiacos will be there as well, wouldn't they?
Very true. Liverpool, Atletico Madrid. You're looking at a home win.
Well, of course, Liverpool at home against anyone. They'll always find
It's live in talkSPORT.
It's a difficult first game because we know Atletico. They're resilient and they're tenacious, and they'll be hard to play against. And they've got some good players. But I fancy Liverpool to edge it, but I don't think it'll be a walk in the park.
And Dan, I've left this to the very last, but looking ahead after that, Saturday, Liverpool, Everton, live in talkSPORT, Saturday lunchtime. Wowzer. I mean, it comes early, but what's your take?
Intriguing game again. I mean, Liverpool will be favourites, of course. Everton, for the first time in a long time, really look like they've got some real quality high up the pitch, which they haven't had too many times in recent seasons. It's been a real problem for them. So they've got a bit of confidence. It's still a game you expect Liverpool to win, but Everton will be quietly confident they can get something because they've started the season well. It's always a great game. It's always a great atmosphere. I think Liverpool will win, but it might have a few surprises in it.
I think so. So, of course, we've been in the company of a man who has played and starred in many of these All-Merseyside matches, Liverpool, Everton, Liverpool, Mr. Danny Murphy. And what else did we learn today? We've also been in the company of former star of track and field, javelin thrower, 400 metres runner, long jumper, high jumper, and general chanty wrestler. And if you live in Scotland, you know what that means. Simon Jordan. We're back tomorrow at 10. It's 1 o'clock.